Speak up when it has been 2 minutes, okay? Really? Beavis and Butthead were in it.
Family Guy. What is there really to say about this show? Peter Griffin funny, bro. Now, despite never really loving this show, I'm not gonna say Family Guy is bad. Seth is obviously doing something right. They're renewing for a 21st season. Jesus Christ, there's 21 seasons of this shit. All I'm saying is Simpsons is a much better show, and if you disagree, you're wrong. And probably have a small brain.
A year ago, we played this little gem for the PS2. It was filled with what you'd expect from a Family Guy video game. Homophobic jokes, blackface, and a rocket shooting out of a woman's vagina. It was a great video. You should check it out. And good old Seth decided he'd make us a PS3 game as well. So today, we're gonna check it out. It's probably a steaming pile of shit, but I can't wait.
Leave a like, 7,000 likes, and we'll check out more cartoon TV show games. I heard that this game was like 10 times funnier than the PlayStation 2 version, which is like really funny. It's Rick and Morty, dude. It's fucking Rick and Morty, bro.
Actually, my bad. Family Guy did it first. It's Family Guy.
Yeah.
We got an Amish guy, a chicken guy, a sloth from the Goonies, Bertram. Do you think Seth MacFarlane produced it?
Any of the good part of the game probably had nothing to do with him. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding.
Just kidding. We love Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, we love Seth. We love Family Guy. These are so many good quips and just good jokes.
Family Guy's actually really funny. It's way funnier than The Simpsons, and it's totally more relevant than South Park.
There's people with that.
Has it been 2 minutes yet?
We're gonna brew up some absolute bullshit.
Give us reasons why you stan Family Guy if you do stan Family Guy. Oh no, now it's gonna be 3D.
Oh, it's a little better if I lean back.
Stewie Griffin! God, Bertram! But how is this possible? I killed you! You only killed me in this universe, you fool!
Oh, so you got yourself a multiverse remote, huh?
Wasn't Bertram in the original Family Guy game?
Yeah, he was. He was at the beginning. Oh my god, is this just gonna be the same shit as the last game?
Bertram! So, in each of these universes, the reality is different from our own. Sometimes only slightly, sometimes quite radically. This Bertram is from a universe where we never killed him.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up! Let me shooty bang bang something.
Has it been 2 minutes yet?
Spider-Man is fucking amazing.
What the hell? Wait a minute, Brian, this isn't where we were supposed to go. What do you mean? I don't know, the remote's not working for some reason.
Hey, those guys aren't like us. Get those knob goblins.
Frat boy.
Okay, good.
Brad and Chad and Kyle and Connor.
Connor,
Why is
you
it
ripping a
dangling so
bomb,
much?
bro? Yay, so this is it. This is the Family Guy game. Oh, it's Fortnite.
Dude, do you just hear the talking in the background? Is so loud in my ears.
Yeah, what? Even if I wanted to focus on it, I can't, because all I can hear is...
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Like,
I did it!
can you just like kill them? Like that guy? Can you just like shoot that guy in the face?
Download Angry Birds on that iPad, you asshole. No, I can't kill him.
Ah, fuck. Okay, well, immediately the game has already pissed me off because we can't shoot whoever we want.
Look, it's Albert Einstein, but it's not. It's more from Family Guy. Get it?
Okay, well you can shoot the balloons, dude. That's
Well,
great.
I
You
get
can
for
shoot the
trusting you.
balloons.
Yay.
You know what gamers often say?
What?
It's a time thing.
Shooting people isn't that fun.
I need to
I'd
get a
rather
time
shoot
thingy or a heart rate thingy or both.
That's why the next Call of Duty
Oh,
game
I should
is
do an
called
eye
Call of
tracking
Duty
thing one
Balloon
time.
Warfare.
That could be
Okay,
fun.
well, let's give it a chance, Max. Okay, we played for 30 seconds. Maybe there's gonna be more than you know, abusing pinatas and shooting balloons.
Look, I'm afraid to tell you.
I got the thing under
I've
the
played
desk.
enough of these shit games already to know when a game's Oh, look.
Oh,
I
you
can
said
turn
yes,
I
and-
can turn into Brian.
I've
and
stopped
have an
anyway.
actual fucking gun.
Okay,
I
yeah,
stopped
dog
when you
over
said
there.
yes, it has.
What are you reading?
But
reading
I'm
50
still
Shades
recovering.
of Grey, actually. It's getting really good. This is the part where he takes his pants off and puts something up her. Haha, I'm bulletproof. Oh, Chug Jug, bro. That was epic.
Oh, I had a chug jug.
What's that sound? Is this what happens when you drink Chug Jug? This horrific sounds? Dude, there's a parade outside. What the fuck is that? Turn around. What is that? I'm kind of glad we didn't, you know, see the front of that.
I want to actually see the front of it, so I'm waiting. Hey, look, a balloon. I did it. I did all the objectives. Hell yeah.
Yay, we popped all.
Now let me see Peter Griffin's cock and balls.
Look at Peter Griffin's fucking ball sack.
All these girls are like, yay, I can't wait to see Peter Griffin's ball sack again. Here he comes. You see him.
Oh, is it covered up? Or you just can't see it? Where is it, dude? Damn,
It's under his gut.
Dude, wait until my bros see these nasty pictures of you.
Hey, get back here with those! I was gonna wait one more year before I leak naked pictures of me online.
Nice nips.
Nice nips.
What? Nice nip.
Oh, God.
Someone had to write that into a script.
Oh my God, now we can kill people.
Now I'm fucking murdering them. What's that guy throwing?
What's a bong,
Is he
bro?
throwing bongs?
It's a bong.
No one's helping him.
Oh.
Oh, he's dead. Yeah, don't smoke weed, kids.
Oh, look at that picture.
Where's her nips, dude? Her nips aren't in that picture, bro.
We don't even have to censor that.
Oh, great. Now we have to kill the women. Oh, there's pepper spray.
That really hurt. I'm gonna break a fucking broken bottle over your
Oh my
head.
God, the way that they just flop on the ground like that, dude.
It's weird. Like one side of my face is like numb, the other side.
Look, it's the mystery machine.
Oh, it's Scooby and Shaggy. I got, what, an ipecac? What is an ipecac?
I don't know. It's probably some, like, in reference to something that we're just from 2006.
Some boomer joke that Seth MacFarlane thought was real funny. Oh, wait, I'm free now. We can take a closer look at Peter Griffin's cock and ball.
Yay! Peter Griffin's cooking balls.
What happened to this guy?
Oh my God.
Is he alright?
No. What's up with his eye?
I'm having chest pains, but I'm just gonna dance through them. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
I imagine this is what hell is like.
This is hell. You have to watch this 24/7.
It could be
In the
worse.
background is just
It could be the
blaring
Ben
royalty-free
Stiller
rock
version
music,
from
and Peter
Dodgeball.
Griffin says the same line over and over.
When he goes, my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Yeah,
right.
no,
Yeah,
you
better
just
than
got
you.
shot in the head. It's time to vote on which game you'd rather see on the channel.
Today we have Thor or Ghost Rider. Let us know which you'd rather see down in the comments section.
Ghost
Oh, and
Rider!
follow us on Twitter. We post some fun stuff.
Ah.
Someone had to write this into a design brief.
Everyone's like, yeah, it sounds pretty good. Is it going to be a Family Guy video game? Okay, yeah, then it doesn't really fucking matter.
It doesn't, we don't fucking care, alright? Have Brian Griffin fucking run around with a Colt 45 pistol, gunning people down.
Killing college students for fun.
This is a secondary objective. I don't know why I'm doing it.
You're really into the gameplay, Max. I think this game is gripping you.
It's because that's all there is to do in the game. Run around and collect photos and talk to fucking idiots.
Yeah, shoot garbage cans and pinatas.
These guys don't even look at these guys.
What?
Look at them. This game came out on the PS3, dude.
This is great. This is great. This is my favorite game, dude. This is my fucking favorite game.
It's my favorite game, bro. I got platinum trophy on it. Look, there's more people sleeping.
Are you gonna go and do the unthinkable and kill them in their sleep?
I'm gonna throw a shitty diaper at them.
Close your mouth, Bri.
Oh, the dead bodies are covered in shit. Oh my.
There were people that had parried out. They weren't dead yet. They definitely are now.
Oh, he's dead.
Okay,
I fucking
Yeah,
killed
put
him.
him out of his misery. He was gonna be stuck there for a fucking eternity.
When you poop in your dreams, you poop for real.
Oh yeah, he's got shit in his ass.
Does that mean he shat himself?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Tap the keg. There we go. We did it.
Yay! Now we're having an epic kegger after murdering like half the
Keg
population
stand,
of the
keg
school.
stand,
Half the
keg
fucking
stand.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
And this party's still fucking lame. Hey, do you like poo?
Frag out.
Uh oh. This smells like creamed corn, right out of the can.
Oh, we did it. Yay.
Yay, we got a new cinematics, bro. Okay, go to the store, dude. Go to the store. What can we buy with this
Oh,
money?
what can I look? Costumes?
Costumes. Yeah, let's go.
Oh, coked out beagle. Wait, can I buy these? I can't even buy them because you need to unlock things and then you can buy them.
Are you sure?
Yeah, look. You need to collect all the wanted posters in something's armor.
At least this looks better than the
Alright,
last
Stewie, where
one.
are we?
According to the multiverse remote, in this universe, oil supplies were exhausted. The only people who were able to sustain themselves were the Amish.
Gentlemen, your people are known for making goods that are built to last. What I need from you is a weapon, the likes of which no one has ever seen.
Look at their eyes. They don't blink.
Something tells me we're gonna kill a lot of Amish people in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I got
definitely looks that way.
fucking sniper rifle.
Oh,
Oh, that's a little
American sniper, a bunch of Amish.
yeah, here we go. Here we go.
That's a little bit on the nose.
Why did they put chicken wire in front of this?
Because it's a barn, dude.
Did they just want you to have a bad time? Like, that doesn't have to be there.
I know, it's in the way.
Ooh, the music in this level's fun.
Oh, it's quirky.
Yeah.
It's quirky and fun.
I like this one. Hey, this is better than the last level's music. I'll say that.
Oh, which is no scope. Oh.
Dude, that was not a no scope. That was a fucking hard scope, bro. You're such a tryhard. You shot him in the face and he just didn't react at all. He's just blank, dead stare.
This is easy, dude. But he can't even hit me. Look at this.
I know, it's not even like you're really like moving around to try to dodge their attacks or anything. They just can't hit you.
I think I know what my new profile pic is gonna be.
It's the way he says things. He's like a fucking boomer.
Profile pic.
How old are you, Seth MacFarlane?
Okay, guys, what have the kids been saying lately? They're talking about profile pics. They're talking about Facebook.
Facebook. Social media integration.
What else is good? Okay, Amish people.
Amish people are big right now. Oh, what is he doing?
He's
Churning the butter.
Oh,
Raise it butter on Monday. Soon I'll raise another.
I do this to get tired before bed.
All right, Peter.
Okay, thanks.
Think you're
Why is
really
there a
righteous?
sun
Think
with
you're
a
pure at
face on
heart?
it?
Well, I know, and 100
normal.
times
It's
as
probably
humble
like a
as thou
deep
art.
cut
I'm the
reference
pious
to
guy that
Family
little
Guy that
Amish wanna
never
be like on my knees
yeah.
day and night.
Because we're not
So your
Family Guy
place
fans.
might be
What's the
after
Family Guy fans
so
called?
don't be
What's the Family
lame,
Guy
don't be
fans
whining, or else I'm
Family
gonna
Guys.
have to get medieval on your hiney.
Obviously. How come I didn't think
Spending
of that?
most our lives living in an Amish paradise.
I don't even know what I just witnessed.
That was a male cow. What was that guy milking?
Probably like his cock and balls or something like that.
The thing is, the weapons aren't even fun in this game, you know? And that's the one thing you'd hope for.
Yeah, if it's just gonna be a game where you mindlessly go around and shoot people, you want to have like a variety of ways to do that.
No scope.
Oh, that one was actually great.
360. No scope. 360. No scope.
That was good coffee.
So stupid.
Do you think I can no-scope this guy? How much do you bet I can no-scope this guy?
I'm after seeing what I've seen, I'm not gonna put it past you that you can hit this guy. Dude, you would have hit him if there wasn't that like cover. Oh, that was right in the fucking head.
That's it.
That was literally in the head.
Do you think I can no-scope that guy?
Holy, dude, now we have to. Oh my god, a little to the left and down.
Lord, forgive me for the whooping I'm about to bestow unto these two.
Wait, why does this not count as technology?
What, do I just shoot it? Just like everything
I'm on
else?
my knees
No,
and
I
I'm
can't.
doing
God.
right.
Do I set it on fire?
No, shoot his eyes. They have
And don't be
targets.
whining,
No
or
scope
else
time.
my brother will
Yeah.
have to get medieval
There we
on your
go.
hiney.
Look at that. No-scoped. Is it going to fix its eyes now? Yeah, it just fixes its eyes up.
Yeah.
Just so I can no-scope it again.
Pardon me,
This might
sorry
be
for
a
burping
quick
near the
boss battle, bro.
microphone.
Did I do it? Oh, I did it. That was it. That was the boss fight.
This is the fastest boss battle of all time. We were there for like literally 3 minutes.
Geez, the Amish are pretty amazing builders, aren't they?
Oh my god, I was just thinking the same thing. I mean, Bertram was just here. These guys built a weaponized wooden robot in like 45 minutes.
Oh, we finished the level. Where are we going to go to next?
The outro of the video, because we're not playing any
I
more of this
just
fucking bullshit. Okay,
give
we
Brian
played
will-
another Family Guy video game for some reason. What did you
Because-
think of that compared to the last one?
Still we would make his
Last one,
own.
That's tough. That's like comparing apples to oranges.
It's like comparing dog shit and cat shit.
Yeah.
All right, well, anyway, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
Well, I did it, and I gave it the full attention. Did we get meta enough to watch the parasocial problem? No, that's too long. But I would like to watch it later. Ooh, a video from Mattis to get us started. That sounds good.
Okay, he's not aggroed on me, but it definitely feels like he's aggroed on me. Oh my god, what?
Dragon!
I'm
feeling pretty dead right
about
Dave, go! Well, now you know better, don't you? So you won't.
Oh my god. Hey.
I am going to be getting my my art pad out now, because well, How to
Monster Hunter is an
World.
absolute masterpiece of a game. Finally, a video game where I can beat my meat in front of animals without having to make an awkward twitlonger about it. It's got one of my favorite combat systems of all time. The armor and weapon designs are some of the best in the business, but it's bogged down by some completely whack design decisions. Who's the brainiac at Capcom that decided cutscenes should be unskippable? And they're like, bad. I actually can't see in this cutscene because my guy's armor is so fucking massive. Big.
Could you imagine if I had graphics like that? I don't know why Family Guy games exist.
Nitpicks aside,
Because
I love
money,
this series.
that's why.
I've been playing it since Monster Hunter Freedom 2, and I'm so happy that I can finally play it without turning my hand into a pretzel. But let's get down to business. What do you do in Monster Hunter? The first hurdle you'll have to get through, besides the character creator, the cat creator, the fucking unskippable cutscenes again, and the fact that navigating the ancient forest is like trying to escape the Sky Williams house, is the combat. If you're new to the game, you might dismiss it as feeling clunky, and if you're a Twitch streamer, you might hate the thought of commitment. That's why I always give new players the same piece of advice. Fuck the quests, fuck the monsters, fuck everything. You go to your training room and you beat the ever-living shit out of this log until you find something that gels with you. There are 14 different weapons. All of them are completely different, and each of them come packed with multiple playstyles.
I've not actually
but they're
played
pretty
Monster Hunter,
straightforward.
so.
Great sword, slow-ass hits, big-ass numbers. Got it. The bow, ranged attacks, but you're built like a Smash player. Gotcha. Dual blades, small baby hits, small milky numbers. Not really my style. The charge blade. Charge blade's actually pretty easy. So how it works is you have two modes, the sword and shield mode and the axe mode. If you want to actually take full advantage of the axe mode, though, you have to charge your files again.
I've seen videos about Monster Hunter, but I've not actually played it.
Hammer goes bonk. This is the part of the video where door number 2 opens, and I admit that everything I've said up until now has been a big fat fucking lie. This isn't Monster Hunter, it's Menu Hunter. Most of your playtime is realistically gonna boil down to making spreadsheets to figure out how to slaughter this innocent animal in the most efficient way possible. When the Super Best Friends made a series on Monster Hunter, they released 3 separate 40-minute videos. Most of it, and by that I mean an hour and a half, was Pat and Wooly yelling about numbers. And that's a pretty accurate depiction of what your playtime's gonna be like. It's gonna be a little bit of Cabela's Big Game Hunt, but mostly coolmathgames.com. Capcom's really banking on you liking this part of the game, because if you don't, you'll end up doing no damage, or you'll become one of the Reddit virgins that thinks a mega endgame Black Dragon shouldn't be hard. Oh, and while you're there, do yourself a favor and don't start arguing about meta sets, because that shit gets pretty violent. Dave,
just so you know, I would prefer that things be a little bit on the darker side.
It's definitely full Safi, like 100%.
No, but Latreon gives you like the same element, but like
I did call today Morbid Monday.
No, dude, like it's definitely full Safi, like 100%.
No,
like, I know. Dude, 20%. I've done this like a million times.
No, motherfucker,
like,
I'm fighting a Latreon. I know this. This game's skill ceiling is so high it makes Smash Ultimate look like Melee. There is a shitload of tech that the game never tells you about. Did you know that you can do 2 elemental discharges with a switch axe by clutch clawing after a mount attack? You can tackle through roars with a greatsword. You can speed up the quest board animation by holding R1. You can make a weapon that isn't a longsword. I mean, fuck, even arm wrestling has tech. On a controller, you can hit the circle button and left mouse click at the same time, and you'll get double the inputs. That one might actually count as cheating, but what's the difference, really? Alright, who are we kidding? Get over here. Let's settle this like men. If I win, Safi Latreon's better.
You know what? I'm good. I don't really want to play.
I thought you were going to say, you know what? I'm cheating.
Want to say hello to everyone, Chicky?
Which button is it?
I hear you, motherfucker. You're actually
I'm not cheating. I'm not cheating.
I can hear that.
Oh, man.
And then all of these mechanics combined are accompanied by brilliantly paced power escalation. You start the game off by beating the fuck out of some lizards that are basically lining up to be murdered, and then you fight their dad, who's pretty much a big punching bag, but he can hit you back. And then you fight Godzilla, who uses the lizard dad like a fucking chew toy, and then launches him at you. And then you fight a funny monkey.
Who makes Godzilla look like a punk bitch? And there's no letters in the chimpanzee alphabet that spell out the words consent form!
And I'm not here to lie to you, man. No. This game is hard. Like, really hard.
That's why I reminded
These late
you.
game monsters will kick your ass, and some of them might even seem impossible. They feel like walls designed to completely break down your sanity. But eventually,
No, that's Hollow Knight.
after what feels like 40 attempts, you'll finally take down that big fucking monkey. And then you realize you actually need 10 gorilla ass cheeks to make your new favorite hat, so you fight him again.
And again, and again.
And every time you kill him, your hunt will be faster, and faster, and faster. And that's not because your number's getting bigger,
Monster
my
Hunter
friend.
is harder than
It's
Horror.
you,
Wait, really?
as a hunter, who's getting better. Every time you fight a monster again, you are
Harder
subconsciously
than the Pocket
internalizing
Pain?
and learning his moveset. And sooner or later, you'll know his patterns like the back of your hand, and he will be your bitch. And that's what I fucking love about this game, man. First of all, this fucking music.
Okay, cool. That works. That could be creepy.
But what really keeps me coming back is that special feeling
But
you
I do
get
have a video I was wanting
when you
to
finally
record.
master a fight.
Had a bunch of things. Ah, I see.
Oh, when he does his spin move, he always takes a breather, which means I can probably get a wallbang in. Oh,
True.
hitting Devil
It
John
does
here
have a
always
whole
knocks him
extra
out.
dimension you
Oh,
have to deal
Nurg's
with.
spikes will shoot out of the hand that he raises higher. Oh, this fight is fucking terrible. Oh, my friend thinks he's fucking funny.
What's so funny?
Love it.
What?
I'm running a little bit for now.
And he's booling.
We can drop crystals on him here and get him to fight rats. Oh, or you could run into a bomb. He ran into the goo like a dumbass.
That one shots?
Uh-oh. Oh, God. Fuck. Dave, I learned how to play Soul Calibur.
Dude, I
All
can't
over,
heal.
There's always no.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Dude, I've been spamming a max potion this whole time. I'm dead.
Ooh, very nice.
Got that ass.
Oh, he about to get the fucking squirrel. Son of a bitch. No, I don't want to eat a steak. I'm literally gonna stand in it. I want to see
Oh no.
how bad. Yeah, you heard me. Bring it, motherfucker. Yeah, fuck you. Oh! Did you carve the tail, Sheena?
There's a tail?
Yeah, I got it.
Where is it?
Right here. It's
Oh,
chunky.
it looks like a rock.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus!
It exploded!
I'll convince you to buy this game right now. Look at this. I'm gonna feed my monkey.
I'm gonna beat the fuck out of your monkey.
Whoa.
No, stop!
Get what you fucking deserve!
Oh! Oh, no.
I can heal you.
I might be stunned. I'm stunned. Oh, my God. Get me out of here.
No! Oh, shit!
I got you.
And this is what the end game's like.
It's quite pretty. Although that could just be because of, well, the video we watched before this one.
Oh, Jesus.
I need a heal. I need a heal.
I
need a heal.
What is that?
Okay.
It's not a fun fight.
What the fuck?
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God.
I'm fucking dragonfly too. Oh, no, I'm on the bringing the turkey.
This game was made for co-op, wasn't it? That's why it's such so
When you
ruthless. 'cause
climb
you
that
can
mountain.
cooperate with other people, which probably just make it worse for you.
And defeat the undefeatable. And then you still don't get the fucking item you need because this game is fucking stupid. Fuck this. I'm doing quests. I'm gonna kill myself. Thank you so much for watching, guys. As usual, I'd like to thank my patrons, which include Chef Boyardee, Papa John's, Madame Tussauds, you know, all the pasta people. They really helped me out with this one. And what the fuck was that? Who was that guy? I have no idea. He sounded familiar, though. Like, I swear I've gotten a video of his recommended to me, and I stopped watching the moment I heard him talk. Oh, yeah, wasn't he doing... he was doing videos on that one game. What's it called? Paladins? Yeah, I think that rings a bell.
Those are females in a voice is still male.
Funny sketches with like this dad and his disabled kid. What was his name?
Jimmy.
Oh yeah.
His name was Jimmy.
That bit was weird.
At number 10, we have...
John Tron video.
You know, when I first got in this thing, I wasn't so sure, but this baby's actually pretty alright. She's got some moves, even if she isn't all...
Used to be a smite YouTuber.
Ouch.
And quit because...
But what'd be really cool is if I got to fly an X-Wing. And lucky for me, they made good on that, because they made a game called X-Wing in 1993 that lets you simulate the real deal. X-Wing was very advanced for its time. Its game engine was the first to use higher detailed 3D polygonal graphics rather than
Hey Jade, I'll add you to the
end. I know that means a lot to you out there. What are you, a bunch of nerds, huh? You don't know what this means? It means it was kick-ass. Welcome to
Which on that list is also a video from me.
You must.
Because I believe it's from...
Well? Are you gonna do something about it if I
TMNT's
don't?
neck of the
You
woods.
gonna get Bicentennial Man up there to come down here and give me a stern talking to?
And I thought it'd be a nice...
hidden rebel combat training facilities. Okay, let's talk about the word hidden. I'm not sure planet-sized space stations fall under that umbrella. They go into this one.
Yeah. She making bickies, making friends. Lucy keeps wanting to
You
steal
alright,
her.
dude? You looking for a fly? You got an itch? What's going on with you? So after your dizzying chat with that fellow, you get to select wing pilot. Yes! Ever since mankind first walked the of gaining the technology necessary
Flashing,
to
flashing,
destroy each other over
flashing,
petty issues
my
in
monitors are
space with lasers. The graphics are actually really
there
good
we
for
are.
DOS. Keep in mind, most games at the time looked like
So
this.
that was a reference to his old
Oh,
content.
that's the real
Guess so.
graphics. It's like I'm really there. All right, everyone, we fought long and hard to be here. Let's take the fight straight to Vader's doorstep. Rocky, you inbound? I don't see you on my radar.
No, I'm very lost. How are you? How are you guys?
What are you talking about? Can you give me a visual? Any landmarks?
Water, fish.
Ross, are you in the ocean?
Definitely the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, for God's sake!
A whale. Sperm whale.
All right, well, Mark, do you copy?
Yeah, I saw a lady. She had red hair and a wizard-like school bus, and now I'm trapped inside Arnold.
Who?
Arnold! Arnold, the one with the glasses. He ate an olive with me in it, and now I am inside him,
that
and I have to help
Markiplier?
him beat strep throat.
What?
I'm sorry, John. Arnold needs me.
Oh, no. That only leaves...
Hey, John, I was here to help!
No, get out of here, Goblin Head Boy! I don't want you!
Why? You don't like my hand?
All right, that's it. I'm blowing the whole thing. There also exists a special edition, which I personally think lost the charm of the original, but it's still pretty good. Another great thing about this game is it has those strange DOS-era cutscenes that are just so fun to watch, due in no small part to their absurdity.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disturb your big.
But it does not appear that he's moving. Oh, wait, never mind. No, yeah, he is. Moving around like a little crab. Yeah, put him in the tube of jelly. You know the one. Yeah, that's the one. There it is. A bit banged up, but he'll walk it off. Come on, buddy. Keep your head above water.
Okay.
Oh, well, he didn't make it after all. Just, yeah, put him in a box. Flush him down the space hole. You know how it is.
Now you go back to your
Hopefully
bickies.
the dynamite we put in that box will come in handy to someone down there. Oh, there it goes.
We're under attack by Imperial Star Destroyers.
And for God's sake, who designed this chair? It's terrible.
Here are the secret plans, Princess Leia.
I will bring them safely to Alderaan.
You guys, feeling comfortable talking to each other like that? You look like you're reluctantly in love. Yeah, that's definitely a good place for that. I see absolutely no problems arising here.
Lord Vader! What a great privilege to have you unexpectedly grace my humble domain.
Nobody ever said that. Lord Vader unexpectedly don't really...
We received your grain shipment scored.
Oh, he brought up the grain.
And the Emperor has sent me here to personally repay you for your treachery.
Grain treachery. It's failed the best of men. Yeah, don't worry, guys. It's not what you think. He's just very disappointed he let Darth Vader down. Poor guy's taking it hard. Wow! That sure was a lot of fun. But that's it for X-Wing. Make sure to join us next time when we get a taste of the dark side.
You're wondering what I'm drawing today? I am working on Koji's spaceship for him to have as a slideshow at the beginning of his stream.
While they're seen as a dying medium today,
Actually, I'm going to do this one first because it's shorter.
All right, Bobo, camera crew's here. They're gonna document everything.
Perfect. Let's go. This is the house.
Wait, you sure this is the right place, though?
Yeah, this
But
is
no
right.
more videos for a bit because there's some really long ones on here.
You cut that out. Let's go. It reeks, Jay. All right, enough. Chicken. Come on, buddy. All right.
Oh, you called my Vinny!
What a cute little girl there.
Well, hey, look, we just wanted to say sorry for misunderstanding the past few weeks, and we thought what better way to make it up to you than to come here and lend a helping hand across the farm. Whatever you want to help? Yeah, we do.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Well, let's go to work. Oh, let's go, boys.
Okay, let's go.
To work.
Did he just pass their baby onto the juggernaut?
Trail already.
And that trailer's full.
It ain't full enough. Oh, Jeff, please play one more song for Murph. He loves it.
We'll finish with this one. You guys may know this. It's my biggest hit. Yeah. It's called With My Baby Duck.
Hi, Papa Briscoe.
What's up, big man? What's going on?
Hey, sir, take my rocker.
You good?
Chicken.
I know you've known Lethal a long time, and he's okay. But keep your eyes on the rest of these clowns. Especially the idiot down there in the coveralls. Which one? Both of them.
Man, Mark, farm work sure is hard work, but let me tell you about some light work. This Friday night on Rampage, we got you a singles match so you can continue your winning ways.
Hey, speaking of winning ways, I beat Cash, Jeff beat Dax, so let's make it official. We are right now issuing a challenge to FTR and the AEW Tag Team Championships in Las Vegas at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, did you know that Koji actually has a logo?
Tell us, how did you do it?
Oh, is that what this is all about? Hey, let's go
It-
fishing
it's
and talk
this thing
strategy.
here.
Let's go fishing and talk a little strategy.
Let's go fishing, that's right.
You're looking at the next tag team champion. Wow.
Emotional damage. Always love DVDs. I'll never forget seeing displays of DVDs in stores. They're always so colorful and exciting to look at. I don't collect them, but sometimes it can simply be interesting enough to see what's been released for our favorite shows, whether it be their covers, how they were released, or even promotions bundled in with the DVDs themselves. I remember I once got a SpongeBob Karate Island DVD with a demo disc for some Nick Arcade PC games bundled in. That was awesome. Anyone remember SpongeBob 3D Obstacle Odyssey? An absolute gem of a video game. As an American, most of my knowledge of DVDs are ones released here in America, but they're a global medium, and countless interesting releases exist from around the world.
Theo, what are you doing?
There are quite a few bizarre international DVDs, especially unlicensed ones.
What
For
you
example, take this bootleg Family Guy DVD from China. Looks mildly decent, right? Well, let's read the back of the box. Meet the Griffins. Peter, the big lovable oof who always sees what's on his mind. Lois, the doting mother who can't figure out why Boar Baby ran Coops trying to kill Hot. You get the idea. While obviously bootleg DVDs are funny and fascinating, there are some officially licensed DVDs from around the world that'll make your head spin, and that's what I'll be looking at today. In this video, I'll be taking a look at some of the craziest, wildest, most mind-blowing DVD oddities from around the world. I can guarantee you are not ready for some of the stuff we'll be looking at today. You'll look at most of these and wonder how any of this got released. It's all incredibly interesting. With all of that said, this is a look at bizarre international DVDs from around the world. Let's begin. From its premiere in 2003, Sonic X has always been a global hit, airing in over 50 countries around the world, and being a huge success with both Sonic fans and general audiences. Because of this, Sonic X has been dubbed into many languages, and countless DVDs have been released. Sonic X was originally planned to only last 2 seasons, and those original 52 episodes were released in Japan on these great DVD and VHS volume sets. Season 3 was later commissioned by 4Kids, as the show was such a success in America. Season 3 never aired on TV in Japan until just recently, over a decade after it was produced. Those Japanese DVDs are really great. They collect the entirety of the first 2 seasons of the anime, and each volume has unique cover art seldom seen elsewhere. Let me just say, there is a treasure trove of rare Sonic X artwork that was produced for promotional material, but then never released in full to the public. All of the covers for these Japanese DVDs are beautifully drawn and showcase events from the episodes included on each DVD. Take Volume 1 for example, which features many of the show's core cast. Volume 7 features art of Super Sonic, while Volume 9 has this awesome artwork of Sonic in shadow that's just begging to be put on a poster. The French DVDs share a lot of covers with the Japanese releases, which is fitting as that dub is often considered to be the closest to the Japanese original. The opening is even a French cover of the Japanese opening,
like
Sonic
Nightmare
Drive.
on Elm Street.
However, some of the French DVDs of Sonic X showcase even more rare artwork, such as these from Season 3 which showcase Sonic in various unique shoes. Check out this one of Sonic battling Bokun. I'd say the most competent DVD releases for Sonic X can be found in America, Japan, and France. Well, 4Kids did this weird thing with the American releases where the DVDs weren't separated by volumes but instead seasons, leading to stuff like Sonic X, the complete 5th season, even though officially only 3 seasons were produced. But anyway, in terms of quality releases, these 3 countries are the places to go. The Spanish DVDs often use screenshots from episodes as their covers, which seems to imply they weren't given access to official art for use here. Strange. You'll notice a lot of international Sonic X DVDs have the JetX logo on them, which is because Sonic X actually aired on that channel in European territories. If only that was the case in America, then we could have had Sonic X airing alongside shows such as Puka or Get Ed. For European broadcasts of Sonic X, a different theme song was used in place of Gotta Go Fast. This alternate theme is a simple melody with singers that repeat Sonic X over and over again, and that's it. This show was likely made for use in non-English speaking territories, as I doubt most dubbing companies would care to cover Gotta Go Fast. One interesting international change made to this particular opening can be found in the Hebrew dub of Sonic X. This dub seems to be pretty competent all things considered, having a flipped logo to fit the country's reading habits. But that wasn't the only change
she's got
made.
2 spots
So at the
outside
end
where
of the European opening, there's a shot where Sonic lands down surrounded by his friends, where he then gives a thumbs up and the intro ends. However, in the Hebrew opening, Sonic lands down, but then his animation is halted before he can strike the pose. When I first saw this, I thought, wow, that's odd, it must be a cultural thing. And turns out it is. Giving a thumbs up can be deemed offensive in some parts of the world. That must have been a nightmare for the dubbing companies. Do you know how many thumbs up Sonic gives in this show? If we're talking Sonic X openings though, no one can beat the folks over in Italy, who produced this overly catchy Italian Sonic X opening. It starts off a little weird, but the payoff is huge. Take a listen. Maybe it's just the musical taste over there, or the fact that EDM techno music is my jam, but Italian dubs of shows always seem to have the best openings to me.
Alone.
For example, Don't Talk to Me If You're Not the Dragon Ball Z Italian theme. The GT opening isn't too bad either. It's so weird, like even the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic opening bangs over there. Anyway, right, Sonic. Some DVDs from far-off territories can get pretty sketchy, such as this set from the Czech Republic. Seems fairly standard, right? Well, the first few volumes of these are pretty good looking, but as early as Volume 5, you'll see the cover designers start to use artwork not sourced from Sonic X. I take it the designers simply ran out of unique artwork to use, and just grabbed whatever they could find. They made a ton of these volumes, as each one only contains 3 episodes. On Volume 9, they use artwork from Sonic Adventure 2. Tikal is on Volume 15, despite the episodes included not featuring her. But things get really juicy on Volume 19. Yep, the cover solely focuses on Blaze, a character who isn't even in Sonic X. Those fake Season 4 leaks are finally a reality. There's Blaze on an official DVD release of Sonic X. She's also on Volume 23 along with Sonic and Amy. The episodes on these DVDs obviously do not feature Blaze, making these covers some pretty clear false advertising. This set was made by the Czech DVD company North Video. Their website is still up and has info on each of their releases, including their Sonic X DVDs. They even have preview videos for the DVDs on their YouTube account from 2010. I would love to grab some of these someday, especially the ones with Blaze on the cover. Any of these international DVDs would make for great additions to any collection, as they're so fascinating. It's interesting to see how different countries handle the releases of these shows. Here's a cool one. Official Sonic X VCDs from China, made by the company Mighty Media Co. Limited. Apparently, these were made in very limited quantities, and were only available to be rented at Chinese Blockbuster locations around 2005. These contain both the Chinese and Japanese dubs for the episodes, and through the 39 discs, contain all 78 episodes. Most of the cover art featured is taken from the Japanese DVDs, with a few oddballs thrown in. A really interesting release, but good luck getting your hands on them. While all of these releases are interesting in their own right, I can't get over how much artwork was made for Sonic X and how much of it is unpreserved. There's so much out there, not to mention concept art, backgrounds, all that stuff. Hopefully someday, a complete Sonic X style guide will go up for sale and whoever finds it, buys it and preserves all of this. But until that day comes, we can all continue to use this same art of Sonic giving a thumbs up, unless it's deemed offensive in your country. There are few things in this world that bring as much unfiltered joy as the Deke Mario cartoons, and yet it seems Nintendo wants absolutely nothing to do with them. Apart from the shows being available on services such as Netflix and, Steam, Nintendo never acknowledges these shows' existence. There's that awesome Mario Super Show inspired fan game in the works, and while everyone was afraid that Nintendo would send the family working on that a big cease and desist, that would still be a win, because then Nintendo would finally show that they still care about our favorite Italian paisanos. Given Nintendo's utter lack of care for these series, you probably already know that the distribution and licensing for them is all kinds of whack. And you'd be correct. The Korean dub of the Super Mario Bros. Super Show is pretty interesting, as it features a great original intro, which is a lyrical take on the original Super Mario Bros. Theme. More interesting than that, though, is that the famous live-action segments from the American original have been completely redone and replaced with new segments featuring Korean actors. The Korean dubs of the Deke Sonic cartoons also feature dubbed openings, with the Korean Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog opening being a completely custom song. The Korean Sad AM opening is a cover of the original. I guess they knew that song was too good to change.
I thought that was just a forgotten show these days.
One interesting tidbit with the Korean dub of Sad AM is that over there was a shoe promotion with the show, and the commercial for said promotion thankfully can be found on YouTube. Interesting to know the show is popular enough over there to receive original content for promotions like this. Anyway, back to Mario. The company that's been distributing DVDs for the Mario cartoons for years in America is none other than Encircle. The company is a huge DVD manufacturer who releases budget sets for countless cartoons. Their DVDs all feature covers loosely based off of the episodes included on the DVD. Some covers look better than others, but many of them are very off-model. These DVDs are made on the cheap, but still. Then again, this same company has released several Deke Sonic DVDs featuring a Blue Arm Sonic, so I guess these really aren't that bad. This collection of art is featured on various international releases of the Mario cartoons, which also often use the art made for the old VHS releases. A majority of these VHS covers were done by Deke themselves, and some of the original art done for them still exists today. DiC produced 3 Mario cartoons over the course of their run with the series: the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, and Super
came
Mario
across
World.
those on
While
Netflix.
technically different shows,
Way
some
back.
could look at these different
When I
cartoons as
first
the
tried
same
Netflix.
series, just being renamed as the Mario brand progressed. Because of this, the 3 shows are often confused in either name or artwork on these releases. Take this VHS from Argentina, for example. The title says Super Mario Bros. 3, but the back shows screenshots from Super Mario World, and the cover art is from the game Yoshi? How about this set from Spain? Most of the covers look fine, but Volume 4 bizarrely features artwork from Mario vs. Donkey Kong. How do these cover designers even source their artwork? Now, get a load of this one from Portugal. It includes the episodes of the Portuguese dub of, well, one of the DiC Mario cartoons. The cover doesn't really show us. Many of these international DVDs use random pieces of artwork that often don't represent what is actually on the disc. Such a mishmash of art, and yet it actually still looks kinda nice? I'm not entirely sure if
surprising.
this one is official, but it does have distribution info on the back, so maybe? Perhaps the license for these cartoons over in places like Portugal is very loose, and they'd rather want the covers to look appealing over accurate. Here's a Sonic DVD done by the same MD movie distribution company. It features artwork from, let's see, Sonic Chronicles, the Mario and Sonic games, Sonic Advance. It's got both modern and classic Sonic on the same cover, and the title says Adventures of Sonic. And yet it has episodes of Sat AM on it. Well, they clearly tried. On the other hand, these Sonic DVDs of Russian origin are clearly Sat AM, in logo only. What is up with this artwork? It's a crazy mashup of classic and modern Sonic. How was this approved? Why didn't they just use stock art? Who designed these covers? Here's a pretty good looking one from Brazil. What's interesting about it? Well, look down at the corner. This one is done by Video Brinquedo, the same company that was behind such hit films as The Little Panda Fighter and Ratatouille. They began as a distribution company before nosediving into the realm of mockbusters. They also distributed DVDs for shows like Sonic X to Brazil. In my research, I found that a disturbing amount of Mario DVDs use this artwork, which is based off of artwork from the original Super Mario Bros. A far cry from the lovable plumber he is in these cartoons. While a bit confusing at times, some of these Mario cartoon covers do look quite nice, but for every well-made one, there are ones like this. It's widely known that the greatest DVD of all time is SpongeBob The Complete Second Season, but there are actually a lot more to SpongeBob DVDs than just that masterpiece. The early SpongeBob DVDs are such classics, aren't they? I'm not just talking about the season sets, though those are amazing. I'm talking ones like Lost at Sea, Tales from the Deep, Christmas, Home Sweet Pineapple, Absorbing Favorites, the list goes on and on. To this day, I still find these ones in stores. I guess they printed so many of these that stores still have them, but that's fine. I'll never get tired of seeing that Where's Gary DVD in stores. I had just about all of these when I was younger, and I loved every single second of them. And don't even get me started on the first 100 episodes DVD. The release of that was a historical event. It was such a great way to watch almost the entire series at that point, with tons of bonus features, and man, even each disc had a unique menu. SpongeBob has had DVDs released in countless countries, for the many, many dubs of the show that exist. Let's talk about some of them. There exist 2 different dubs for SpongeBob in Japan. One cast dubbed the first 3 seasons of the show and the first movie, which was produced from 2002 to 2009, and aired on Nickelodeon in Japan. However, Nick Japan was taken off the air on September 30th, 2009, which briefly suspended production of the Japanese dub of SpongeBob. The show would continue to air on different networks in the country, and eventually a brand new dub featuring a new cast went into production, as they dubbed Season 4 to present, including the second movie. Surprisingly, the new Japanese dub of SpongeBob features a brand new ending theme. The intro is just a Japanese cover of the English opening, but the Japanese hip-hop group Rip Slime produced a brand new ending theme for the show. Along with that, starting in 2019, a second ending theme was made for the show as well.
Mojo had to illegally get SpongeBob
A majority of the DVDs
Really?
produced for the Japanese dub of SpongeBob are simply Japanese versions of the American DVDs, with many releasing after Nick Japan as a channel went defunct, though they still use the Nickelodeon brand. This goes for many of the international DVDs for SpongeBob dubs. I mean, why change perfection? International dubs of American cartoons have always been so fascinating to me, whether it be changes made to the show itself, or even simple stuff like what channel they air on. Did you know that in certain territories, The Fairly Odd Parents airs on Jetix, now known as Disney XD? Fairly Odd Parents on Disney. While some international dubs opt to make an original opening for their localized show, it seems most SpongeBob dubs keep the original theme and simply translate it into their language. This blew my mind when I was younger. Get this. In certain dubs of SpongeBob SquarePants, an alternate opening is used. In the original intro, there are a few parts that show SpongeBob's name in English, which obviously would look weird in, say, a French dub of the show. Editing all of that custom text into your language could be tricky. So, for some of the dubs, Nickelodeon supplied this textless version of the intro, which replaces those parts with more generic stock animation. When the intro was redone in HD around the time of Season 9, they redid all of those international animations too to keep those dubs consistent as well. Even the stop-motion intro from Truth or Square had alternate versions produced. There are, however, some dubs that edit the English opening, with actual localized text. Some are even a mix of the two. There are many, many variations of the SpongeBob intro, considering just how many countries air the show. Now, given their amazing track record, I can't even imagine how amazing the Italian opening for SpongeBob must be. I mean, if they bust out such great songs for shows like Sonic X, what could they possibly do for one of the biggest cartoons of all time? In a surprising twist, it's just the international intro, but with no lyrics at all. This is one of the few dubs to do this. It's very interesting. But hey, check out that logo at the end of the original Italian opening. The show is actually simply called SpongeBob over there, and features a unique brighter logo showing off the main cast of characters. This carried over to some early DVD releases, a far departure from the American logo. This would, however, be changed for the HD intro, though it still lacks SquarePants. One interesting thing with certain SpongeBob dubs is how recent some of them are. For example, the show didn't officially start airing in Vietnam until 2016, with the dub consisting of episodes from seasons 3 and 4. Over in Bangladesh, the Bengali SpongeBob dub premiered on April 14th, 2019. That's so weird to think about. The early seasons of SpongeBob are brand new over there. In some countries, dubs for certain foreign shows are produced illegally, without the blessings of the show creators or the license holders. The best example of this are the Persian dubs of SpongeBob. They're known as Bab Esfanji. These dubs air in both Iran and Afghanistan, and are widely believed to be unofficial. There are at least 5 different Persian dubs of SpongeBob, all airing on different channels and made by different companies, with some even being exclusive to this video's main subject, DVDs. It's widely believed that most of, if not all of these Persian dubs of SpongeBob are unlicensed, with no involvement from Nickelodeon. Why do people believe this? Well, while there are obvious things such as no mention of Nickelodeon anywhere in these dubs, the main reason to believe this is that these dubs often use custom music and sound effects, as if they had no resources from Nickelodeon and had to redo the entire audio tracks. And when they do use the original music, it's taken straight from the English episodes, with the original voices edited out poorly. And yes, this extends to even the opening of some of the dubs. Take a listen to the intro from the dub produced by the company Pyra Z. How strange is that? They also made some changes to the show itself to fit in with the country's regulations. One of the most controversial changes being editing clothes on the characters who wore bikinis like Sandy, as well as some of the background fish. Obviously, they did a very poor job at this. Because of this, Bikini Bottom was often censored as well. The name, however, was retained on most of the DVD releases of the show. Speaking of, they're as bootleg as you'd expect, but I personally find them to be immensely charming and funny. Someday, if it's ever possible, I would love to collect these Persian SpongeBob DVDs. I mean, just look at them. They slap together artwork from various sources, and give the DVDs names loosely based off of the episodes I assume are included. Some make sense, some don't. I'm personally a big fan of this one. Coin. Who could forget the Fry Cook game? Or Stupid. Sandy's House? Bob and Big Prize? My personal favorite from this set has to be this one called Nowhere Is Our City. You tell 'em, Persian SpongeBob. I also really like this tiny Squidward that's next to the logo for seemingly no reason. How about this one that uses fan art of Gangsta SpongeBob? What episodes are even on this one? What about this one? What could this possibly contain? This one uses cover art from the game Plankton's Robotic Revenge. What episodes could be on this one? Well, as it turns out, this one doesn't contain any official SpongeBob episodes at all. Instead, you're looking at the cover of a bootleg SpongeBob film from Iran called SpongeBob in Tehran. Wait, what?
I mean, you hadn't even met Sophia when I started working on this.
That's right. In 2017, a 43-minute long SpongeBob special was produced and aired in Iran, made for that audience in mind. It's
kind
a
of
trip.
proud of myself.
The film
how much
centers
I've
on
grown.
SpongeBob and friends traveling to Tehran because they're out of the Krabby Patty's secret sauce, and the only way to make more is to get the secret formula, which for some reason is stored in Tehran. The gang then go off searching for a man who is said to hold all the answers they seek, and that man is Lou, the bargain mart clerk. Alright. Despite being released in 2017,
Oh,
the
what do you think of
animation
my
looks
boobs
straight
in
out of
this
those
one?
SpongeBob point-and-click PC games, with some additional stolen 2D animation, mostly from Sponge Out of Water. With that said, some of the writing here is actually pretty funny, though that may simply be due to how absurd it is.
Hi, I'm Mike Tyson. Watch me beat Peter McNeely on Comcast Cablevision. Comcast. Hi, I'm Mike Tyson. Watch me fight Peter McNeely on Cock Cable. Cox or Cox? Hi, I'm Mike Tyson. Watch me beat Peter McNeely on Salmon's Cablevision.
No, Salmon's Communication.
All right. Hi, I'm Mike Tyson. Watch me beat Peter McNeely on Samsonite Cable.
No, Salmon.
Don't forget to subscribe to Roby Asesh and press the like button. Bye.
All right, we gotta do this
That was pretty funny.
Hi,
Hi, Miss Harley. How you doing today? And yeah, this is a drawing that I drew like a year ago, a bit over a year ago, around a year ago, of me sitting on Koji.
There's a side plot about Plankton also
that
looking
I
for the
thought
formula,
maybe I might
so he
fix
too
up.
travels to the lands of Tehran. After some
my
sightseeing, the gang
abilities
meet up with a
come away
pantherfish
quite
apparently
away
named
since
Detective
then.
Fake, who claims he will help them find
How's your
Lou.
day been, Miss
Then
Harley?
they go
I'd
to a
love to know.
soccer game or something, and it just ends. The movie has no real conclusion, or at least the rips online don't. However, it has been said that airings on TV in Iran have the same abrupt conclusion. With that said, the movie is segmented into different parts, like episodes, so maybe there is
I was
more
really
to
proud
it.
of the
There is
butt.
this DVD called SpongeBob and Kabara. Maybe it's related? Is this a sequel? Somebody tell the A Day with SpongeBob SquarePants search team about this. We gotta know how the gang find the secret formula in Iran. In fact, this whole scenario reminds me a lot of A Day with SpongeBob, a bootleg but original SpongeBob movie released on DVD in limited quantities with no relation to Nickelodeon or Viacom.
Yeah.
Only this time it's real.
Although the fire
The
looks
seemingly
good and
full
all,
movie is available to be watched
kind
on
of-
YouTube, uploaded by Extra
It doesn't
Absorbent.
look- the
It has
head
full
doesn't
English
look right to
subtitles,
me,
making it
so
a bit easier to make sense of the story.
figure
if
I'll-
you're a
I'll,
SpongeBob fan or just a fan of weird animation, I highly recommend it. Interestingly, it seems
do it
this
again.
movie was made by the same team that produced a dub of the show, the one that airs on the channel Rib Puya, as the movie seems to share the same voice actors. This hasn't been confirmed, but it seems likely. If there are more than 43 minutes to this movie, I really hope it gets documented eventually. However, it would make sense if this truly is it and the movie just ends abruptly. It's an unlicensed movie made for a quick buck. What do the producers care if the story makes sense or has an ending? When I first discovered them, I was so intrigued by Persian bootleg DVDs. After looking up SpongeBob, I looked up ones for Sonic, and sure enough, they too look really bizarre, with tons of stolen official and fan artwork. Same goes for Mario. It seems bootleg DVDs featuring unlicensed dubs are a really big industry over there. While on the subject of Persian dubs, I just had to mention this. Remember how the Persian dub of SpongeBob uses a custom instrumental? Well, the Persian dub of Sonic X does the same thing, probably for the same reason of it likely being unofficial.
Well, I'm saving it as a different one. That way I can change it and see how much I've improved over the year.
It actually
I
sounds
still like the
really
dress,
nice.
though.
How about the Persian intro for Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog? Wait, is that?
But yeah, I still like my dress.
Yep, the Persian dub of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog didn't even bother to recreate the original intro, instead using the instrumental of Katy Perry's song Last Friday Night. At least the lyrics are original. Now, I would be but a fool if I did not use this video as an opportunity to talk about the Donkey Kong Country cartoon. We all know about this legendary show, but did you know it had a huge marketing push? It did, in Japan at least. The show was unreasonably popular over there, which led to many figures, plushes, and more being released. It's odd the show was so popular in Japan, as the series is French-Canadian in origin. With that said, DKC was a really big deal in France, where the show was animated. The series premiered in 1996, on a French TV block called The Planet of Donkey Kong, which aired on the channel French 2. Lots of material was made to promote the show in France, and it all makes for great entertainment nowadays. The Planet Donkey Kong block lasted for a while. It won an award and won under several names, such as DKTV. During commercial breaks on the block, the characters from the show were featured in various bizarre skits, referencing movies, pop culture. The block even featured music videos. Lots of stuff you wouldn't expect from Donkey Kong. All of these were only ever produced in French and only aired in France. If there was ever a reason to learn French, understanding these would be it. If you thought the show itself was bizarre, you haven't seen anything yet. We're not in Congo Bongo anymore.
Look silly, Lila. Oh yeah, that's right. He got this emote made, but he's not been able to use emotes yet.
Did you know that the DKC show is mocapped? Well, it's pretty obvious given how odd the characters move, but some behind-the-scenes footage showcasing this has been released as well. DKC was actually a very impressive show for its time. In France, there was a Kellogg's promotion with Donkey Kong Country, where you could get one of 6 figures in specially marked boxes of Cocoa Pops. Of course, the promotion had a commercial to go with it.
Don't like the DK show? Well, just calling it the DK show sounds a little bit sus.
The US commercial for the Game Boy Color port of Donkey Kong Country also used models similar to the TV show, though DK has more intense fur textures.
My original drawing outline.
My absolute favorite piece of extraneous Donkey Kong Country material, though, is this video, in which Donkey Kong interviews Nancy Blair Griffin at Media Lab. This clip appears to be uploaded by Nancy herself, and the upload gives little context as to what this clip was made for, but maybe it's better that way.
See you here at Media Lab. Hi. Oh, excuse me, I'm carrying this phone around with me. Let me just put it up. Hang on a second. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Presto changeo, no more banana phone.
Okay, so first off, that DK voice is pretty clearly not the original actor, though the animation here is pretty close to show quality. I assume this was made as an animation test for those DK TV segments or something, though I honestly don't want to know why this was made. It's much better without context.
What kind of stuff do they play?
Well, they like to play with action figures. They also like Tommy.
Tommy?
Yeah, from the Rugrats.
Oh, Tommy from the Rugrats. Could you scratch my back? If you could do it with your left hand. Oh, that'll work. Oh, a little lower. Oh, a little bit to your left.
Media Lab, the company featured in this animation, was the studio behind the first season of the DKC series, as well as Planet Donkey Kong, and the various TV spots mentioned here. But despite their clear efforts, Media Lab filed for bankruptcy in the year 2000. The covers of the DVDs for the series are truly something. Earlier ones often featured screenshots from the episodes themselves, to varying results. Long after the show's run, however, Sony Pictures Home Entertainment would pick up the license for the series and release DVDs featuring, lovely artwork of our favorite apes. Surprisingly, as late as May 12, 2015, the complete first season of the cartoon was released on DVD in America, and in Germany, where the show was called Donkey Kong's Adventures, Season 2 was released on DVD recently too. It's amazing to see that DVDs for the series are still being released today. It truly is timeless.
What the damn hell? What was I thinking? I was being lazy.
And there you have it, a look at some fascinating DVDs of our favorite shows from around the world. You'll notice this video was about the dubs of these cartoons just as much as it was about the DVDs. And that's because it really is interesting to see how much these shows change for the different countries and cultures. It's important that dubbing companies, whether they be official or illegal, take great care in translating these beloved shows to other countries, because this is how those countries will perceive these shows. Some Iranian boy is going to grow up thinking this is a part of the SpongeBob series, and Italian children will grow up having great taste in music. And well, I just think that's all pretty neat. Stuff like this really inspires me to explore the world. You're telling me the SpongeBob theme is completely different in other countries? That's so interesting. One day I'll have to find a way to import some of these DVDs. I need to see Nowhere Is Our City in person. Maybe those Blaze Sonic X DVDs too. I want to thank all of the brave DVD designers and dub producers from over the years for giving us all of this content. While some are better than others, it's clear a lot of passion goes into these to make sure these shows are the best they can be.
I do like the effect that I have with the different glider things on it, but it doesn't look right. The head doesn't look right. I've got to fix it.
The the green-clawed beast. Imagine you're out enjoying your afternoon, lounging on an inner tube, floating in the river, when all of a sudden you are attacked by a creature. Because that is exactly what happened to a woman named Naomi Johnson. On August 21st of 1955, Miss Johnson was out enjoying a swim with her friend in Ohio River near Evansville, Indiana. While swimming, Miss Johnson said that she was suddenly grabbed and pulled underwater by a large, hairy claw hand.
Yeah.
She struggled underwater until she was able to kick herself free. She resurfaced only to shortly be pulled under again by this creature. Thankfully, Miss Johnson managed to escape once again. When she reached land, she had multiple bruises and wounds on her leg, one of which was a green claw print shaped hand. Now, Miss Johnson never got a good look at the creature, but could sense how big and strong it was from the force it used on her. This encounter was reported to an Air Force colonel who took detailed notes and then told Miss Johnson and her friend to never mention it again. Very suspicious. What is this man
What
hiding?
do you need help with?
Was it a creature of his own that escaped? No one knows. But what they do know is to never swim in that river again. In our 8th spot, we have Walhalla Road. Located in North Columbus, this road is supposedly one of the scariest roads in Ohio. Legend has it that around 1950, a doctor by the name of Mooney and his wife and kids used to live among the road. It is said that one night Mr. Mooney lost his mind and murdered his family along this road. Apparently, if you walk this road in the dead of night, then you will see the ghost of Dr. Mooney murdering his family. You will also be able to hear them screaming and hollering. Like, the name of the road is literally Walhalla, like holla.
And you get him
like
to do the same with
Get it?
mine?
Just a weird coincidence. Also, if you walk this road at night, it is said that you can see an eerie blue light appearing from the attic of the Mooney's old mansion. Coming in at number 7, we have Loveland Castle. Although it may sound like a nice place to go for a honeymoon, don't be fooled. It's not. Well, maybe if you guys have a thing for ghosts. Now, this castle was actually handmade by a man named Harry Andrews back in 1929. Harry was obsessed with medieval times and architecture and decided to build this towering castle in the middle of the Midwest. Andrew passed away in April of 1981 at the age of 91. Loveland Castle is now a museum spot for tourists to visit. It is said that people have seen a shadowy figure roam the halls that resembles Harry. Typically, this ghost makes an appearance when something in the castle is going to go wrong. This may be Harry's way of still looking after the castle after passing away. In fact, one time, sounds of slamming doors could be heard upstairs. Upon investigation, they noticed that the septic tank was about to overflow. They believe that the slamming doors was Harry's way to warn them about this. And lastly, there's also said to be another spirit roaming the castle. This spirit is referred to as the Viking entity. Now, people believe that this entity is attached to one of Harry's antique swords in the castle. This Viking can be seen in a long black cloak, carrying a sword at his chest. Moving on to number 6, we have Riders Inn. Now, if you ever need a place to stay in Ohio, don't worry, I got you covered with a list of haunted inns not to stay at. Now, on this list is a bed and breakfast known as Riders Inn. In this inn, you can enjoy their restaurant, comfy accommodations, and of course, 3 ghosts. The first ghost that people have claimed to see is of a man dressed in a Civil War uniform. Now, both the other 2 ghosts are Roxanne and Susanna, the second and third wives of the inn's founder, Joseph Ryder. Apparently, Roxanne is a friendly ghost, whereas Susanna causes trouble around the inn. Inn residents have stated that they have been let into the inn by a woman in a white nightgown when the doors should have been locked. This was either the ghost of Roxanne or Susanna. Now, may I mention that this inn is literally located on a street named Painesville? Like, what are the odds? We are now at our halfway mark with number 5. The Witch's Ball. What's a scary legend without some witches? Myrtle Hills Cemetery in Medina County is known for getting quite the group of interested people. Among all the graves, there's one in particular that stands out, and that's because it's marked with a giant sphere. This story revolves around a woman that endured a lot of suffering throughout her life. As a result, she ended up murdering her family members. She would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling kids and their dog. Just kidding. But I love Scooby-Doo. Classic. But seriously, she would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for the town members who realized that her family just started to disappear. They believed that she was a witch and she was practicing her magic in the woods. As a result, she was stoned to death and buried under the giant sphere. Now, apparently she was buried standing up to make it hard for her to escape, and the spear was put on top as another precaution to make sure she never arose. However, it is said that her spirit has found a way to escape. In the wintertime, snow will not fall on the spear or the ground around it. On top of that, if you touch the spear, it will appear warm from the witch's energy, and in the summer, it will appear cold. People have also claimed that they have seen her figure in the woods, by the cemetery, or even seen an eye on the ball itself. Coming in at number 4, we have the Akron Civic Theater. Built in 1929 by Marcus Lowe, the Akron Civic Theater is a nice place to watch theatrical performances and even see ghosts. Although this theater is beautiful, it has a much darker past. Now, there is said to be 3 ghosts that haunt this theater. The first ghost is of a janitor named Fred. Fred apparently was the janitor for the theater and passed away one evening on his shift. Fred's ghost has been seen throughout the theater, and in fact, one person reported seeing him standing just outside the main entrance. It is also said that Fred becomes angry for anyone that dirties up the bathroom and will chase or attack them. No thanks. I'd rather hold it in if that's the case. The second ghost is of a man who is said to be a frequent theater goer, or even of an actor that used to work there. He is said to lurk on the balcony and is fashionably dressed. And the last ghost is of a woman who died after jumping into the canal, which is below the theater. Her spirit is still said to roam the theater and is often heard crying. Let's move on to number 3 with the Headless Ghost. In October of 1889, a train conductor by the name of John Walsh was bringing the train along the Nickel Plate Railroad in Arcadia. While waiting for the signal that would allow him to continue traveling, he noticed that a section of the train cars had disconnected. While trying to reconnect them, the other missing section came barreling towards him, smashing his head between the 2 cars. In January of 1890, it is said that an engineer has seen John's ghost. Apparently, at night you can see John's headless ghost roaming the tracks looking for his, well, lost head. It is also said that he carries a lantern which he swings back and forth, and people have seen the eerie glow of his lantern at night. In our second spot, we have Helltown. What a nice sounding town to visit in Ohio. Helltown is located in an abandoned town of Newville in Ohio. Now, Helltown wasn't always the name given to this area. It was once known as Boston Mills, but it was bought out by the government, who forced the residents to leave the town. Legend states that the government closed down Boston Mills after a chemical accident that occurred there. As a result of this accident, citizens began to mutate. Some people have claimed to see these disfigured, mutated residents still lurking in the area. It is also said that murdered children roam the woods of Helltown. Apparently, while headed to school, a school bus filled with students ran out of gas. They were stranded in the middle of nowhere when they were killed by a patient from a mental asylum. It is said that the ghosts of these children still roam the woods and can be seen at night, along with hearing their screams. And in our number 1 spot, we have the West Branch Witch. Another witch-related legend. Surprise, surprise. In the West Branch State Park of Portage County, there have been many claims of people encountering a woman dressed in all black. The first appearance was reported in 1960 by a man named B.A. Evans. He recently purchased a piece of land and later discovered a small cemetery on it. This cemetery contains 7 gravestones surrounded by a 40-inch wall. The gravestones are apparently from a family named the Elliots. The headstone that gets the most attention is that of Clemenza. Clemenza was apparently killed by a group of townspeople after being accused of being a witch. As a result, she was pressed. Basically, a wooden board was placed on her, and then on top was piled with stones until her body was crushed by the weight. To this day, her grave is marked by a pile of stones that rests on top of it. It is said that she haunts the graveyard and the surrounding area. In fact, on her tombstone is a curse that says, "Remember youth as you pass by. As you are now, so once was I. As I am now, so must you be. Prepare for death and follow me." If you read it out loud by her grave, she will apparently chase you away. Now, this legend continues, saying that one night a group of kids took stones from Clemenza's grave. Later on, they died on their way home in a car accident, but the one kid that didn't take the stone survived. So any geologists out there, I recommend not taking any rocks from this site.
Moving on to number 9 now, we have Athens Insane Asylum. Now this...
Okay, I gotta pee. I'll be right back. And then we will continue the watching with the gamer's video that he put forward. So, I will return. You guys are awesome. And yeah. Thank you for this. I'm back. How we doing? I'm gonna hit play now. Yeah. That's better.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got an exciting match that you've been waiting for. The Wahoo Man himself, Speed Runner Mario, against the legendary Hiya Melee Fox. Get ready for something
Well,
versus...
we'll have to get on his back.
Introducing first, standing at 4'11" and weighing 101 pounds, Melee Fox. Hiya! Sporting lightning-fast reaction time and unbridled speed, the overpowering king of the melee tier boasts an impeccable arsenal of comboing potential and adaptability thanks to his signature wave dash and reflector, also known as the Shine. In the other corner, standing at 5'1", weighing 196 pounds, Speed Runner Mario. Wielding superhuman strength, durability, stamina, speed, pyrokinesis, the power of flight, and the ability to move through walls and manipulate quadruple parallel universes with his signature backwards long jump. Wahoo is a terrifying, unnatural force. The very fabric of reality is at stake here, folks. 3, 2, 1, fight!
Scratching around the eyelids, which is just fucking weird.
Landmaster!
バカが、俺は戦いの12時間も前から準備していたんだ。まさか今まで奴の残像を追いかけてたっていうのか？奴はどうやってこんなありえない力を使っているんだ？異世界の分身と完全に同調しているのか？こんな集まりにかなうわけない。異世界4つ分くらいは先に行ってるぜ。だがそれぞれの異世界で打ち負かすまでは勝利とは言えないな。
Fox, never give up. Trust your instincts.
Hiya! このガサゴソが多元宇宙の鍵なのだ。勝利は我が手中に。奴はどうやって A ボタンの半押しより速くできるんだ。ハイパースピード。奴のディファクトスピードが上がりすぎている。でも奴には飛び移れるガサゴソはいないから限界が来るまで待っていればいいんだ。Not so fast!
まずい、余で宇宙が崩れてしまう。
極限のスピードに達したが終わりがない。許してくれ兄弟。最速への渇望が行き過ぎちまった。俺に残されたのはもう暗闇だけだ。待てよ。もし俺の転移を戻して3元宇宙まで移動したら10元宇宙が残る。それと同時に多元宇宙のしかるべき場所に移動するんだ。もう一匹のガサゴソを出す。そしてガサゴソを踏み台にして制御をぶち壊せば4次元宇宙を全部消すことができる。はいや
And the winner is Mario!
Mamma mia!
Who would have thought?
This building opened its doors in 1874, becoming one of Ohio's largest asylums for the mentally ill. In the beginning, things went well. It offered some of the best care to its patients. As the years went on, the owners realized that they could put some of the patients to work there, specifically on the nearby farm. The greedier they got, the more patients they took on. By the 1950s, it had become a dumping ground for anyone that a family couldn't afford or simply didn't want to look after. At 2,000 patients, it was now 3 times over its capacity, yet the number of staff remained unchanged. Patients were forcibly restrained for days at a time, left in crowded rooms meant for one person, and regularly beaten by staff. In 1993, the hospital finally closed its doors. The remaining buildings were left to Ohio University. In the years after, students would tell tales of strange figures standing in the empty wings in the former hospital. For me though, the creepy part is the report of a stain on the top floor of the building. They say it's of Margaret Skeeling, a patient who went missing in 1979. She was found 42 days later in an abandoned ward. Tests show that she died of heart failure, yet she was found naked next to her clothes, folded neatly on the floor. To the horror of those who found her, the body had decomposed so badly that a stain had seeped into the actual concrete. It couldn't be scrubbed away, and they say to this day the stain can still be seen. Next at number 8 now, we have the melon heads. These humanoid creatures are said to be found in Lake County, Ohio. Now, according to legend, the government ran a number of secret experiments on local children there. A man called Dr. Crow performed the experiments on children in an orphanage. The government hoped that they wouldn't cause as much of a stir that way, because nobody would care about the children. Not my words, theirs. Or potentially theirs. The results of the experiment were shocking. The children's hair began to fall out and their bodies mutated, increasing their head to a gigantic size as a result of injecting them with excess fluid. The children feared for their lives. They grouped together and overthrew the twisted doctor, murdering him one night in the orphanage. Then they set fire to the building and fled to the woods to become feral. In the years since, locals have reported seeing fully grown adults with huge heads darting through the trees. While this is already creepy by itself, they also say that the so-called melon heads are now cannibals, feeding on any person that wanders too close to the woods. Moving on to number 7 now, we have the Reformatory. This is an old prison built in 1896 and designed by Levi T. Schofield. He wanted the place to inspire the inmates to experience a spiritual renewal and give up their harmful lifestyle, repent their wrongdoing. In the end though, it gained a reputation for death, after more than 200 people died there over the years. These days, people say that the building is haunted by the spirits of the dead. One such person is Helen Glatke, the wife of the prison's one-time warden. She was accidentally shot in the lung when a gun fell off a shelf. Now, legend says though that she actually killed herself, and the whole accident story was nothing more than a cover-up. Then there's the rumors of a prisoner setting himself on fire in his cell, an old woman roaming the grounds, and also the hole. The hole was said to be a confinement space in the basement of the prison, designed for 20 people at most. However, guards would cram it full of prisoners just to torture them. The pain and anguish suffered within the walls are said to still remain and be heard on cold, dark nights. Moving on to number 6 now, we have Franklin Castle. This Victorian era building is said to be the most haunted house in Ohio, bar none. It's a bold claim, but the story seems to back it up. It was built in the 1880s by a grocer turned banker called Hans Tiedemann. Despite being rich, his life was struck by a number of tragedies. In that house, his 50-year-old daughter died, so too did his mother and 3 other who died in infancy. His wife became so overcome with grief that she became despondent. He attempted to distract her by turning the house into a sort of castle. He built elaborate tunnels, prominent gargoyles, and a sprawling network of rooms. He stopped though when his wife also passed away. He sold the property. It changed hands a number of times over the decades, and then in the 1960s, reports of hauntings in the house began to spread. There were strange electrical surges, the sound of babies crying, and a mysterious woman in black who roamed the hallways at night. In 1975, human bones were said to be found in a closet in the house. Now, since then, there have been reports of an axe murderer there, a mass shooting of Nazis in the basement, and even the hanging of one of the original daughters of the family. People may dispute some of the stories, but some people who visit agree that a lasting presence can definitely be felt at old Franklin Castle. Moving on to number 5 now, we have the Loveland Frogmen. This is a really weird one, guys, and I'm saying this as a guy who has done more urban legends videos than he's had hot dinners. Residents of the town of
urban legend videos, I really do.
Since 1955 that amphibious men live along the river there. The first sighting occurred when a businessman claimed to have witnessed 3 bipedal quasi-reptilian entities congregating by the side of the road. The man pulled his car to the curb and watched the creatures for about 3 minutes. He described them as being 3 to 4 feet tall, covered with leathery skin and having webbed hands and feet. While they had some human-like features, he said that they had distinctly frog-like heads. Just before the creatures left, one of them seemed to wave what the witness described as a wand above its head. Like an actual magical wand. Sparks apparently came out of it. The man left, but over the years, many have reported similar experiences, leaving many locals to see the Frogman as just a strange part of reality. Next up at number 4 now, we have the Grassman. You can think of this one as Ohio's version of Bigfoot. It's said to have all the same characteristics, a tall bipedal hominid that skulks around Ohio's deep woods. The Grassman gets its name from apparently building small hut-like structures or nests made out of tall grass. The first sighting occurred in 1978 when some local kids ran into their grandparents' home screaming about a hairy monster they had just seen in the gravel pit outside. When the grandparents went outside to investigate, they saw it too. They said it was covered in dark matted hair, sitting in the pit and fiddling with some trash. They later estimated it to be about 300 pounds. The family fled, but it wasn't the last time that they or many other locals saw them. When people started investigating, they found records from the 1700s of Native Americans in the area who spoke of a race of bipedal ape men. They referred to them as the wild ones of the woods and would often leave food out for them in an effort to keep the peace. Next up at number 3 now, we have the Cincinnati Music Hall. This is a classical music performance hall in Cincinnati, completed in 1878. Before construction was even finished, it was said the location was a place where the dead render the lives of the living a burden to them. How intense does that sound? When a nearby canal was being made, authorities found over 100 human skeletons that had to be removed. They buried them in the ground on which this building now stands on. More remains were placed there in 1838 when a steamboat exploded and flung bodies all over the city. They were also buried in the ground below the music hall. If that wasn't enough to creep you out, it also stands atop of an old orphan asylum and an old Civil War hospital. All of this has resulted in locals claiming it's the most haunted place in town. One night watchman felt the presence of ghosts there. He said, "They never touch me, but I always know when they are around, by an icy chill, a thrill of electricity. They never annoy me now by mere knocking, for I have gotten so used to it. So used to it that sometimes when people have really knocked at the door, I didn't open, because I thought it was only the dead that kept knocking, knocking, knocking." Well, I'm glad he can be so calm with dead people knocking at the door at night. Most of us would just nope right out of there. I know I definitely would. Moving on to number 2 now, guys.
I would not.
Lake Hope Furnace. During the Industrial Revolution, this furnace was used to process iron ore gathered from the area's sandstone bedrock. After 20 years, the furnace is shut down, but some say creepy stories still remain. They say that in order to ensure the furnace continued operating at night, watchmen were employed to tend to the furnace
the head is starting to
fires.
look
On
better
one
if you
fateful
ask
night,
me.
a watchman was walking along the platform with his lantern when he slipped in the darkness and fell into the bubbling ore inside the furnace. He screamed out for help, but was consumed in seconds. Now, legend says that on stormy nights, a ghostly watchman returns to make his rounds. There have been dozens of reports of a dark figure carrying a lantern walking along the top of Lake Hope Furnace. Some even say the figure continues pacing back and forth across the furnace until lightning strikes nearby, causing him to disappear until the next stormy night. Next up at number 9 now, we have the Defiance Werewolf. This is a very famous one. The people of Defiance in Ohio have claimed that for the past 45 years or so, they've been terrorized by a werewolf. It was first sighted in 1972. Over the summer, there were many sightings of a rampaging, hair-covered beast on 2 legs. It was said to have a muzzle and was always covered in rags. The local media went into a frenzy, and even the police opened up a case file on the sightings. There have been many sightings since then. Many of them were around a series of old railroad tracks in the town, usually late at night. One of the first sightings was by a Mr. Davis. Now, he said, "I was connecting an air hose between 2 cars and was looking down. I saw these huge hairy feet. Then I looked up and he was standing there with that big stick over his shoulder. When I started to say something, he took off for the woods." His friend, Mr. Jones, was with him at the time. He said, "At first I thought the whole thing was a big joke, but when I saw how hairy and woolly it was, that was enough for me." Next up at number 8 now, we have Brubaker Bridge. According to legend, in the 1930s there was a brutal one-car accident on this bridge over Sam's Run Creek, Butler County. The bridge is in a very rural area and nobody actually discovered the crash victims until later that night when a local farmer passed by. The farmer went to get help and a total of 12 bodies were recovered. They were eventually identified and given proper burials. That wasn't the end of things though. Shortly after, the farmer who originally discovered the bodies claimed that while crossing the bridge one night after, his car suddenly cut out. He said that he heard heard 13 knocks on his car, then a hissing noise before suddenly the car just came back to life. Locals say that this is the spirit of the 13th victim, whose body was never recovered. The spirit is still said to haunt those who pass over the bridge, hoping they will be the ones to finally find its body and give them a proper burial so that they may pass on peacefully. Next up at number 7 now we have Stony Creek Cemetery. The story goes like this. In 1825, the local caretaker in Stony Creek Cemetery in Adams County made a discovery. At the bottom of a large tree was the body of a young man. It didn't take much to figure out the cause of death, as the man's head was completely missing. Although it's hard to beat that in terms of strangeness, there was one other thing. The crime scene was clean of any blood around this headless body. The police determined the murder must have taken place somewhere else before the perpetrator then dumped the body in the cemetery. Rumors began to spread that the head had not been cut off, but rather ripped off by something extremely powerful. The case remained open and unsolved for many years before entering books of folklore. There are those that say that some nights a misty figure appears under a tree in the cemetery, the ghost of this unidentified man, unable to find peace until his murder is solved. Moving on to number 6 now, guys, we have Patterson Tower. There are a number of theories about the origin of this strange tower, thought to be built by a John D. Patterson many years ago. According to legend, a group of teenagers in the 1960s took refuge in the tower during a thunderstorm. As the storm raged on, a lightning bolt hit the top of the tower. Electricity surged down the metal stair rail and electrocuted 2 of the teenagers, killing them almost instantly. They say that in the weeks afterwards, you could still see their charred outlines on the tower wall. Officials blocked off the tower from dark tourists by placing metal plates across the door. Visitors still just ripped them off though to see what was inside. Legend now says that on stormy nights, the shadowy spirits of the teenagers who died can be seen in the tower. A bright bolt of lightning will illuminate their ghosts, making them glow as if they had just been hit by lightning. When the storm fades, so do they. Until the next time. Coming in number 5 now, we have Little Sugar Creek. The town of Bellbrook is sometimes referred to as Ohio's Sleepy Hollow because of all the ghostly legends that originated there. A man called James Buckley ran a sawmill there many years ago. He lived in a small cabin and grew his business to great heights, becoming the wealthiest man in the town. One night, his newfound wealth attracted some robbers. When authorities finally arrived to help him, they found Buckley's headless body outside. The murder was never solved. People say the cabin was haunted then by his spirit. Those who ventured there say they've been confronted by a headless ghost, his arms outstretched as if begging for help. In time, the sawmill was demolished, but that didn't bring an end to the sightings. Locals still say that if you wander down to Little Sugar Creek, where the sawmill once stood, you can still see the ghost of James Buckley, unable to pass on peacefully while the case of his brutal murder has been left cold. Moving on to number 4 now, we have Otterbein Cemetery. This one is also known as Bloody Horseshoe Grave. During the 1840s, an Ohioan called James Henry was involved with 2 women at the same time, Rachel Hodge and Mary Angle. He wanted to know which one to marry. One night while riding home, he fell asleep on his horse. He awoke to find his horse had not taken him home, but had instead stopped in front of Mary Angle's house. He took this as a sign, and soon he and Mary were married. As his wedding gift to her, he gave her the horse that brought them together. They lived happily, but in 1845, Mary died from one of the many prevalent diseases at the time. She was buried in Otterbein Cemetery. Henry began courting Rachel Hodge, and eventually the 2 were married. He gave her the same horse as a wedding gift. They hadn't been married long before locals noticed something strange about Mary's tombstone. There was a glowing outline of a horseshoe on it. James took this as a sign that Mary was displeased with his new marriage. They said he was cursed. One night, witnesses heard strange noises and lights coming from the cemetery. The next morning, James was found dead in his barn with the mark of a horseshoe on his forehead. His death was ruled an accident, as Henry had been alone in the barn at the time. All alone except for one other creature, a horse. Even today, they say a strange horseshoe mark is still visible on Mary's tombstone, and that on some nights you can hear the sound of hooves trotting up the cemetery road. Moving on to number 3 now, we have Buxton Inn. This place has been going since 1812, making one of the oldest inns in Ohio. In the mid-1800s, Major Buxton, after whom the inn was named, took control of the inn. There have been reports of ghosts there ever since. Many of the ghosts alleged to haunt the inn are said to be of previous owners. However, there's also strange knockings people have heard coming coming from the basement where the stagecoach drivers would have stayed. The door to that same basement is known to open and close by itself, and there have even been reports of footsteps coming up and down the stairs there. Major Buxton's spirit is said to be a shadowy figure, often sighted in the dining room. Another owner, Orrin Granger, appears as an elderly woman wearing old-fashioned breeches who is said to steal pies from the kitchen. There's also the lady in blue, who died in the inn and is recognizable by her distinct perfume. There's even a phantom cat that enters people's rooms at night in much the same way it did when it was alive. Next up at number 2 now, we have Old Raritan. The story goes that as European settlers first began to arrive in the Ohio Valley, wolf attacks on livestock became more and more frequent. Farmers began to hunt down the wolves, possibly to the point of extinction, but none of them could have predicted what came next.
Pardon me, sorry for burping near the microphone.
To escape the farmers, a huge grey one became known as Old Raritan. Farmers often reported seeing him and his mate wandering through the woods, but they never could corner him. Eventually, they became the only wolves that remained. One night, the wolves were trapped with their backs against Big Rock, a famous landmark. The hunters opened fire and brought the female down. Just as the hunters set their dogs loose to finish her off, a loud cry echoed through the woods. Old Raritan leapt in front and fought the dogs off. The hunters opened fire and wounded him too. Eventually, they called off their dogs. Old Raritan dragged his now dead mate up to the top of Big Rock. Once there, he let out a thunderous howl across the backdrop of the moon and then slumped down beside his mate. All was quiet, but not forever. On certain nights, locals say you can still hear a painful howl, and that if you head to the top of Big Rock, you'll be faced with the ghost of Old Raritan, still ready to fight in his afterlife. And finally, number 1 now, we have the Bloody Bridge. Sometimes you can just tell from these titles where these stories are heading. This bridge lies just outside of Spencerville, crossing the Miami-Erie Canal. According to legend, the bridge was the site of a grisly murder in 1854. In the years before that, a rivalry grew between 2 local men, Bill Jones and Jack Billings. Both had fallen for a woman called Minnie Warren. In the end, Minnie chose Jack, sending Bill into a fit of rage. One night in 1854, Minnie and Jack began to cross the bridge on their way home from a party. At the other end, though, stood Bill. He was holding an axe. They didn't have time to run. Bill took one swing and severed Jack's head clean off. Minnie screamed and jumped off the bridge and into her watery grave. Bill then disappeared until his skeleton was found years later in a well. Was it or revenge from the couple's family? Either way, the years since then have seen reports of ghostly images of the murdered couple on the bridge. Some even say that when the water gets dark enough, you can look over the bridge and see Minnie Warren's face staring right back at you in horror.
Number 10, the Bisman Building. The Bisman Building was built in 1886.
Just so you guys know, I am willing to take extra videos now, but until then, I'm going to keep watching these
if you have seen the film,
Ohio
the building is used as the
urban
entrance
legends.
to the Brewer Hotel, where Brooks and Red stayed after they were paroled from Shawshank. The real building, though, is haunted. While here, many people experience a feeling of dread and sadness, particularly on the 3rd floor. Many people also report an overwhelming sensation of darkness when on this floor, so if I were you, I would just stay away from the 3rd floor in general. Disembodied footsteps, voices, being poked and pushed, black shadows, and dark figures caught in images seems to be something that happens a lot. Spirits of a young girl, Ruthie, her aunt, and the spirit of a retired worker who died in an accident before leaving the building are 3 identified spirits that stay here. In past investigations here, investigators have received audible responses to their questions.
Is the head shape looking better now?
The ghosts spoke to them. One piece of audio evidence was when an investigator asked if they could speak to Ruthie, and a voice was caught saying, "Is Ruthie here?" In addition to Ruthie, people have witnessed the spirit of a woman throughout the upper floors, people in Victorian clothing, and the sounds of people working. Number 9, Staley Road. Sometime in the early 1800s, pioneer John Wrench used the services of 3 Staley brothers to build a flour mill. The finished structure was to become the first double-wheeled mill in Ohio. The business flourished, and after several years, John had made enough money to retire and ended up selling his mill to Elias Staley. The mill was then passed down to his brother Andrew and continued to produce flour until
1905. Today, the mill is still standing and on Staley Road, named for the brothers, winds its way past and through the woods. It has become something of a rite of passage for local teens to drive this road at night to show how brave they are. It's been said that Old Man Staley went on a rampage, ending the lives of many, and is now haunting the road. Motorists say that they often experience unexplained car trouble, and some have even seen Staley's ghost standing next to or even lying in the road. Number 8. The Golden Lamb. As the oldest hotel in Ohio, the Golden Lamb has seen more than its share of famous guests, including Charles Dickens, Mark Twain, Daniel Webster, and 12 American presidents. Yeah. 12. It's fantastic, but there's also been death and tragedy in the hotel. Guests have cited a girl who may be Sarah Stubbs, the niece of the hotel manager in the 1800s, or possibly Eliza Clay, a girl who died of a high fever at the hotel in 1825. The ghost of Charles R. Sherman, an Ohio Supreme Court justice who died at the inn in 1929, is said to appear in the hallways as a gray, gaunt man and conjures the smell of cigar smoke. Charles's death left his wife and 11 children, including Civil War General William T. Sherman, penniless. As a result, most of his children were put up for adoption, and some say the guilt of his family's demise keeps his spirit at the inn. Number 7. Moonville Tunnel. Located deep in the woods, the tunnel is framed by a faded stone archway covered in moss. The tunnel itself is long and extremely dark. It's actually an out-of-work stretch of railroad track that leads to an old coal mining town. If you're brave enough to venture through it, you might see the ghost of Frank Lawhead, an unlucky train conductor who met his end in a head-on collision with another train. Visitors in the area have taken photos with cameras or phones, only to look back at them later and notice the pale figure of a man they didn't see before, or phantom train lights blazing at the end of the tunnel. It's also said if you listen carefully, inhale deeply, and blink intermittently, you may encounter spirits from another time. The piercing whistle of a train rounding a curve, the smell of lavender wafting from a woman in an old-fashioned dress, or even the glow of gaslit lantern illuminating the face of the weathered brakeman. So that's fun. Number 6. The Buxton Inn. The Buxton Inn was built by Orrin Granger in 1812 as an inn and tavern, and it also served as Granville's first post office and as a stagecoach stop. I'm just gonna say it, this place is haunted. The first ghost spotted in the Buxton Inn was the first owner, Orrin. Other ghosts include the Lady in Blue, rumored to be the former innkeeper Ethel Bonnie Bonnell, Major Buxton, whom the inn was named, and even a phantom cat seen slinking along the halls. There's been strange activity like footsteps and doors opening on their own reported in the inn's basement, where stagecoach drivers would often stay during their stopovers in the past. However, the ghosts just don't stay in the basement. Oh no. Rooms 7 and 9 are said to be the strongest places for activity, with apparitions appearing. One guest even reported a ghost cat showing up to cuddle and purr in the middle of the night, which, like, aw, that's so cute. Guests have reported strange phenomenon throughout the hotel though, like their names being called out and invisible footsteps. I would not want to sleep there. Number 5. Woods surrounding London. Okay, again, not London, England, but London, Ohio. Deep inside these woods sits an old abandoned barn that is so rotted away it is practically melded back into the trees. It's rumored that ghosts like to spend some time here. If you ask anyone from the area, they'll tell you that these woods are haunted. According to legend, a family of 5 was traveling through the woods in the late 1890s when they were stopped and had their lives ended by a band of thieves. Those brave enough to wander through the woods of London at night have reported hearing gunshots and disembodied screaming. Others have felt a sudden drop in temperature before seeing a strange white mist hanging in the trees. Let me just say, it's a no for me. Number 4. Ridges Asylum. Ridges Asylum originally opened in 1874 and was known as the Athens Asylum for the Insane. It had 2 wings, one for female patients and one for the male patients. The most violent patients were housed at the outermost tip of each wing. By the start of the 1900s, the asylum had become dangerously overcrowded, and rumors of inhumane treatment at the hands of the overworked staff were growing. Despite this, it was not officially closed until 1990. 1993. Some parts of the building are still in use, while other areas are completely abandoned. One of the scariest places in the building is the outline of a body where Margaret Schrilling died in 1979. She apparently got lost in the disused part of the hospital in the winter of 1978-79 and was not found for more than a month. When the corpse was eventually removed, it left a stain that could never be washed away, which just makes me gag thinking about it, but imagine the smell, like, ew. Ugh. She is one of the many ghosts who's said to walk the asylum at night. Strange figures have been seen roaming around the old floors. Others have heard disembodied voices, footsteps, and screaming. Most appealing to imagination is the basement. Some claim severely disabled patients were kept on chains in dungeon-like places. Some say they've even heard the chains being pulled. Oh, and there's also a cemetery on the grounds which holds over 1,930 bodies. Of those, 700 women and 959 men lay under the headstones marked with only a number, which is sad. Number 3. Bobby Mackey's. Built in 1850, Bobby Mackey's is said to be the most haunted nightclub in America. When it was first built, the building served as a slaughterhouse and meat packing facility. The standard for most slaughterhouses of its day, the facility featured a well to collect the runoff of animal blood, innards, and other waste. If that image wasn't icky enough, there have also been several deaths in and around the club throughout the years. The place harbors energy so dark that a portal to hell is rumored to swirl somewhere within its basement. There is strange, suffocating heat. A trash can once flew through the air, and the apparition of a man with a handlebar mustache appears in the mirror. I would not want to get anywhere near that place.
I love it.
Ever. Number 2, Licking County Jail. Originally opened in 1889, the Licking County Jail is now home to only prisoners serving afterlife sentences. It contains stacks of cramped, grimy cells lining its dimly lit halls. Since being put out of commission, the jail has become a notoriously haunted hotspot. While it was operating, a total of 3 sheriffs and 19 inmates died on the premise. If you make your way to Licking County Jail, it's said you should peer between the cell bars as figures of prisoners are said to peer back. Visitors have reported hearing cell doors slamming, being touched, whispering in your ear, whistles, the sound of footsteps, some of those being what seems residual, the jingling of keys, screams, and moaning, as well as seeing strange light anomalies, full shadow figures, and photos with unexpected images in them. That sounds absolutely terrifying, and I would not want to go there. And coming in at number 1 is Sedamsville Rectory. The Sedamsville Rectory is a historical building that once served as the home for priests of Our Lady of Perpetual Help Church. Priests of questionable moral character were rumored to live here, if you know what I mean, including a man who was moved around considerably before retiring from the priesthood, leaving some to believe the church was covering up his tendency of mistreating animals. His fellow priests later confessed to hearing strange sounds coming from his bedroom and feeling uneasy in his presence. As the alleged site of the mistreatment, it's no shock that the place has some wicked demonic energy. Reports detail strange howling cries and deep scratches appearing in the flesh of workers. The current owner of the building, Terry Scott, even claimed that she was pushed by an invisible force. The presence was so evil that a priest was called in to perform an exorcism, but his efforts did little to keep the demonic energy at bay, and whatever monster lurked in there still remains, and I would not want to mess with it. Number 10, Malabar Farm. Malabar Farm was built in 1939 by Pulitzer Prize-winning author Louis Bromfield and was his home until his death in 1956. But before it was built, another family lived there in the 19th century. Celie Rose, a challenged young woman who lived there with her family, developed a romantic fixation on a neighborhood boy. When Celie's family told her to stop claiming the boy as her fiance, she mixed rat poison in their porridge. Her father and brother died, but her mother survived. At her trial, Celie couldn't understand why her parents didn't come to see her. After all, she said, the rats always came back after her daddy fed them rat poison in the barn. Afterwards, she went on and lived with her mother, whom, yes, she tried to kill, but then Celie poisoned her again, and this time it worked. At age 23, Celie stood trial truly alone, but was found not guilty guilty by reason of insanity and sent to a state hospital. She lived out the rest of her life in an insane asylum, and since then the house has been haunted. One visitor saw a woman dressed like Celie Rose outside the house. People have seen lights flicker, felt a phantom cat, disembodied voices are heard, and there's an overall eerie feeling on the property. Yeah. No kidding. Number 9. Beaver Creek State Park. Although this park is beautiful during the day, it has a darker side at night. A portion of the park was once part of a canal system from the early 1800s. There are 2 locks that are said to be haunted. Jake's Lock is said to be named after a former canal worker who was struck by lightning while walking across the top of the lock. He died instantly, but some claim that on certain nights, especially stormy ones, Jake returns with his ghostly lantern to continue his evening's work. Spooky. Nearby, Gretchen's Lock is said to be haunted by the ghost of a canal worker's daughter. Legend has it her father put her coffin inside the lock until he could load her body onto a ship headed for their homeland. But when the coffin was loaded onto a ship bound for home, the ship was lost at sea and didn't make it. Gretchen, pleading to rejoin her mother, reportedly makes an appearance at the lock every year on the anniversary of her death, which is just very sad. Number 8. The Wandle House. The Wandle House was constructed in 1916 by the Wheeling and Lake Erie Railway with funds contributed by railroaders. The Brewster Railroad YMCA featured 62 dormitory rooms used by the railroad workers, a restaurant, movie theater, and bowling alley. Today, the building is home to the Historical Society and houses memorabilia from baseball team photos, class pictures from Beach City and Brewster schools, railroad memorabilia and equipment, payroll records, and military uniforms. It's filled with tons of history, so those from the past like to visit. While there, you might come across Teresa, who worked in the eatery around the 1940s and 50s. People have also reported hearing noises, seen doorknobs turning on their own, and dark figures. And even one time, someone who was doing work in the basement of the building watched a person walk through a wall. Let me just say, I've seen a ghost walk through a wall before too, and it's creepy, so it's not something I'd like to see again. Number 7. Crybaby Bridge. Locals say if you stand on the Alliance Area Bridge at night, the sound of crying can be heard. Some say that mothers who did not want their sons or daughters during the baby boom would toss them from the bridge into the river below in the dark of the night. Others believe the cries stem from members of a cult kidnapping locals and ending their lives as part of their secret ritual. And finally, some say ghostly cries stem from a distraught mother who lost it after her daughter would not stop crying. In desperation, she tossed her over the bridge to her death, and upon realizing what she had done, the woman reportedly drove off the bridge and her own life. This is all around sad and creepy, but if I heard crying noises without anyone around and on a bridge nonetheless, I would be terrified. Number 6. Old Chestnut Grove Cemetery. The story goes a woman accused of witchcraft was executed and buried at the cemetery. The townsfolk did not erect a marker, but instead built an iron fence around her grave, which was next to an old tree. An indentation next to the tree inside the fence marks her grave, and it's said that bad things will happen to those who get close to her grave. Another variation of the story says that several witches were executed and buried here, and their ghosts continue to haunt this area, which does not shock me. Not only did this happen, but on December 29th, 1876, the number 5 Pacific Express was traveling over a high bridge carrying approximately 159 passengers and crew when the bridge collapsed. It sent the train and the people on it into the ravine below, and 92 people died. Many were burned alive while trapped inside the crushed cars and are buried in a mass grave at this cemetery. Due to this, people have seen ghosts of the passengers, and unexplained voices on tape have been recorded. Number 5. Malsalon Public Library. Let me just say, there's more than books in this building. Before it was a library, it was a house, and former residents Clara Baldwin Barrick and Annie Baldwin both died in the home. Clara lived in the home from 1895 to 1909, and her daughter-in-law Annie died in the home in 1931. This might explain why this place is haunted. Some visitors have heard footsteps or smelt an unfamiliar perfume. Employees get a chill with no explanation in the outreach room located in the basement of the former home. A patron once claimed to have been pushed by an apparition while in the library, and a security camera in the library caught the elevator traveling to the 3rd floor at 3 a.m. The doors opened and a bright light could be seen, and the phenomena has been caught on tape several times, and there is no explanation, and that is just like an immediate no. No. Director Sherry Brown, who has worked at the library since 1979, said she was working in her office, a former bedroom of the home, after the library closed when she thought she saw an employee walk past her office door. She yelled out but got no answer. When she investigated, she found no one. Paranormal investigators have conducted research in the library and have gotten responses from the ghosts during electronic voice phenomenon sessions, and if you thought libraries were boring, let me just say this one definitely isn't. Number 4. Lock 4 Park. An incident occurred here in 1857 which has resulted in the park being haunted. A canal worker, whom some say was the lock tender, may have been angry about the potential of work being shut down and wanted revenge.
Jade, is the head
The angry
looking better?
worker doused his fellow workers with a container of acid or some type of caustic liquid. It said the enraged worker tossed the lid open and flung the contents on his fellow workers, dumping the remnants on himself. Legend states that no immediate deaths ensued, but rather the men suffered gruesome, slower deaths that took several days. A few men perished due to their acid-eaten skin and organs. The man responsible also died. Today, screams and moans of those who were burned by the acid supposedly can still be heard by some if they listen closely while visiting Lock 4 Park. Also, the lock tender's cabin, which is located in the park, may also be haunted by the spirit of the angry worker. Number 3. Franklin Castle. Franklin Castle is reported to be the most haunted house in Ohio. Rumors about the eerie castle began to surface after multiple deaths occurred in the Tiedemann family while living in the mansion. The home was built in 1883 by Haynes Tiedemann, a banker and co-founder of the Union Banking and Savings Company. And let me just add that the house has 4 stories and more than 20 rooms and 80 windows. Now, Haynes allegedly tore down another house on the property where 4 of his children had died. His first wife, Lucia, died inside Franklin Castle in the 1890s. The American businessman would eventually bury 3 more of his children and his mother. Since then, the location has been the site of mysterious hauntings. A family with 6 children called the Romanos had moved into the house, and on the day they moved in, 2 of their children said they encountered a crying girl in white on the 3rd floor. But when Miss Romano investigated, no one was there. Soon, the family started hearing haunting organ music and heavy footsteps. 2 of the older Romano children woke up one night to find something yanking the blankets off their bed. And Miss Romano once awoke to find herself screaming on her bedroom floor, with an unseen presence screaming beside her. A priest advised the Romanos to move out, and in 1974, they did. But the hauntings didn't stop when the Romanos left. From there, the house was sold again and again and again. Each new occupant reported strange occurrences like passing through odd vapors, hearing a child crying, or seeing a woman in black standing in the window. Since reports of hauntings at Franklin's Castle increased, many turned their suspicions onto its original owner.
To tell you the truth.
Number 2. Sister Century House Restaurant. Now a restaurant, this building has seen a lot in the past. It was built in 1870 and has been home to several businesses in historic Canal Fulton throughout the years. It currently houses a family-owned restaurant, but was most notably home to a crematorium, which was located in the basement back in the early 1900s. I mean, since this place was once filled with dead people, it's no shock that it's haunted. There have been rumors of shadow people, a poltergeist in the kitchen, ghostly ladies in the basement, the entrance to an old tunnel, and even an unusual room that makes people a bit dizzy. The food, though, seems to be great, as the restaurant has a 4.6 star rating, so if you want to see some ghosts and have a great meal, I suggest you check this place out.
Sounds like
and coming in at number 1, the Ohio State Reformatory. The Ohio State Reformatory opened its doors on September 15th, 1896 to its first 150 offenders. These prisoners were brought by train from Columbus and put immediately to work on the prison sewer system and the 25-foot stone walls surrounding the complex. The reformatory remained in full operation until December 1990, when it was closed via federal court order as a result of a prisoner's class action suit citing overcrowding and inhumane conditions. For example, in the late 1930s, a riot broke out in the East Cell Block. The guards condemned 120 rioters to share 12 solitary confinement cells for 1 week without food or water. What? This punishment drove many to the brink of madness and death. During its 94 years as a working prison, 154,000 inmates passed through the gates of the Ohio State Reformatory. Many died of diseases like influenza and tuberculosis, some went mad, others ended their lives, and at least one inmate lit himself on fire. Just outside the reformatory, there are 215 numbered graves. While visiting, people have reported being pushed and punched by unseen forces. Many claim to feel a chill while on the prison grounds. People have also heard cell doors slam shut and seen dark apparitions. Even the road leading to the Ohio State Reformatory seems to be haunted. Local legend suggests it's the ghost of Phoebe Wise, a notorious hermit and eccentric.
Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the Loveland Frog. As someone who is not from Ohio, this is probably the most famous of all the Ohio urban legends. I'm enjoying being able to swear again. The Loveland Frog is an urban legend that originated in Loveland, Ohio in the 1950s, and according to the legend, a group of local men spotted a humanoid, frog-like creature near the Little Miami River. They claimed that the creature was about 4 feet tall, had leathery skin, and webbed hands and feet. Over the years, there have been several reported sightings of the Loveland Frog, including one in 1972 by a police officer named Ray Shockey. Shockey claimed that he saw a strange creature. It's so funny that his name is Shockey and that he saw like a strange, like what is more shocky? You know what I mean? Shockey claimed that he saw a strange creature on the side of the road while on patrol. When he got closer, he saw that it was a creature with leathery skin and frog-like features. Shockey drew his gun and fired at the creature, but it quickly ran away and disappeared. The legend of the Loveland Frog has become a very popular topic among paranormal enthusiasts and cryptozoologists. Some believe that the creature could be an undiscovered species of amphibian or reptile, while others think it could be a hoax or a misidentification of a known animal. Regardless of its origins, the legend of the Loveland Frog has become a part of Ohio folklore, and the creature has become an iconic figure in the world of cryptozoology. In our number 9 spot today, we have Ohio State Reformatory. Also known as Mansfield Reformatory, this spooky place is a former prison located in Mansfield, Ohio. It opened in 1896 and it closed in 1990. The prison is known for its very violent history and inhumane conditions, with reports of harm, bad conditions, and overcrowding. The prison is also rumored to be haunted, with many visitors reporting strange occurrences such as cold spots, unexplained noises, and ghostly apparitions. One of the most famous ghosts said to haunt the prison is that of Helen Glatke, the wife of a former superintendent who died in a car accident outside of the prison. Her spirit is said to still wander the prison, often appearing in the chapel or the administration area. Another famous ghost is that of the ghost in the tower, believed to be the spirit of a former inmate who died in a tragic accident while working in the prison's bell tower. Visitors have reported hearing his scream.
Welcome to the stream! Hi, hello! Thank you for the raid! Thank you for the raid! Hi, hello! I'm Pyra Z, your little fireflower. Thank you for the raid. Hello, raiders! You're welcome to come and enjoy my stream. I'm Pyra, as I said. How was your stream? Yeah, actually, it's not just prison history right now. It's scary Ohio urban legends that are pure evil. Well, that's what I'm watching right now anyway. I love my creepy and spooky content while I'm doing my drawing. But yeah. What were you up to today? How was your stream? Thank you for sharing your community with me. I am ecstatic to have your raid, as you can tell. Yeah. I love getting raids because it gives me a chance to make new friends. And what can I say? I like to share my fiery heart with everyone. But yeah. Today is Morbid Monday, and yeah. Mama Pyra. Yes, Buckets? The girl at the State Ohio Scary... Girl, State Ohio Scary in... I wouldn't know. I'm Australian, so I've never actually been to Ohio. But it does sound creepy. They've got a lot of urban legends. Yeah, I heard that it was quite the creepy state, but what can I say? I like creepy stuff. I always have. It's kind of why I'm a goth. But yeah, I'm a fire spirit. Oh, thank you for my booba pat there, Bacchus. Much appreciated. Thank you for sharing your community with me, Wham Bam Shoo Bob. I'm gonna call you Wham for short. I hope that's okay with you. Yeah. Thank you for the raid. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, just playing detective games. Oh well, that suits the prison thing really well, doesn't it? I'm glad you had fun with your stream and that you decided to come spend some time with me. If any of you guys decide that you're going to stick around, I'd really appreciate it if maybe you could refresh the page. That way, you count as a fresh viewer to the algorithm. But if you don't, that's okay too. Give me a follow and I'll happily react to your videos as well, as long as it doesn't break Twitch's terms of service. Now let's get back on with the creepy.
And seeing his ghostly figure in the tower. The prison has been featured in several films and TV shows, including The Shawshank Redemption and Ghost Adventures, which of course only worked to further popularize its reputation.
Actually, there's one more thing that I like to do when I get a raid. Oh, I live in Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana for sure. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I actually would really love that. I wonder what I could find. But first, let me copy this and do a quick little exclamation S. I have this thing that I can do that should give us a little clip from your streams. Hey, it didn't clip. Is one of my mods here? Can you try and get the clip to work for me? I'm sorry, it's supposed to play a little clip of you. What a good book. Jade, could you try and get the clip to play, please? I tried, it didn't do it. Thank you for the head pats. I like the head pats. Louisiana. I'm going to have a quick look. So, Louisiana urban legends you suggest. Yeah, share your spark with these people. Mary Lavelle would be a good start. She's regarded as a queen of voodoo. I have heard of her before, yeah. Marbo Lavelle. Louisiana is one place I've always wanted to go. I want to go and have a proper gumbo because I love my spicy food. But yeah. Let's go with yeah. I live in Australia, South Australia, so I've never actually had an authentic gumbo, and I really want to go. It looks delicious. So yeah, that's why that's on my list of places I want to go. And also apparently it's really creepy. And I like creepy. Yeah. So should I go with hauntings and urban 5 hauntings and urban legends, scary Louisiana urban legends, legends of New Orleans, Top 10 urban legends of Louisiana. What do you think there, Wamp Bam? Well, what do you think, Wham? I love it. You'd love it. I'd also recommend authentic bowl of red beans and rice too. Good comfort food right there. I do like my beans, but then that's because I also really like my fart jokes. So yeah, which one should we go with? Legends of New Orleans, 10 scary urban legends of Louisiana, or 5 Louisiana hauntings and legends? Okay. Well, thank you for rating me. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that the rest of your day or night is nice and restful. And thank you again. I was hoping you might help me pick, but I understand being tired. You're awesome. Thank you so much for rating me. Mwah! Let's go with this one, and we can always switch to the other one if we want. Hauntings and urban legends. Oh no, that's a pity. Let's go with this one then.
Throughout time, people across the world told each other tales of how they came to be. Of heroes and monsters, romance and tragedy, death and rebirth.
This is Legends of New
Mythology helped
Orleans.
shape the ancient world, explaining the unexplainable. This
And right now I'm
mythology,
revamping a picture that I drew a year ago. So yeah.
In the southern United States, there is a city on the Mississippi River filled with mystery and enchantment. New Orleans. From Bourbon Street in the French Quarter to the port and the bayou, New Orleans is a gem in the state of Louisiana, famous for its food, music, annual celebrations, and its melting pot of culture. Such culture is bound to spawn more than its fair share of myths and legends.
It is?
Stories of strange creatures, phantom lights, and even the undead, all with their own style and flair, are told in the fabled city. This program will discuss some of the most mysterious and chilling legends of New Orleans. Stories of vampires go back thousands of years, perhaps even before the civilizations of Mesopotamia. But in the United States, New Orleans holds the record for vampire legends, and even vampire sightings. But one legend stands out among the rest. The most famous vampire in New Orleans, Jacques Saint-Germain. According to the legend, Saint-Germain immigrated from France to New Orleans in 1902, where he earned a reputation for throwing lavish dinner parties for New Orleans' wealthy citizens. Bizarrely, however, he was never seen to dine with his guests. His wealth, his shadowy background, and his aloof and almost alien behavior, coupled with his gentlemanly charm, made him the subject of many rumors. One night, screams were heard from Saint-Germain's home, and a woman jumped from the second-story balcony of his house. People coming to her rescue heard her raving that she had been attacked by Saint-Germain, and that he had bitten her on her neck. The woman was taken to the hospital, where she later died.
Say it with me.
When police searched Saint-Germain's home, they found bloodstains and wine bottles filled with human blood. But there was no sign of the man himself. To this day, Saint-Germain and other suspected vampires are said to lurk in the French Quarter, preying upon the unwary, wandering alone at night. In addition to vampires, New Orleans has its own legends of werewolves. Called the Rougarou, or Loup-garou, the monster is said to prowl the bayous and marshlands of the greater New Orleans area. According to Cajun folklore, a person may become a Rougarou either when they fail to observe Lent for 7 consecutive years, or if they have been cursed by a witch. During the day, the creature maintains human form, their condition kept a secret from the rest of the world. But at night, they transform into a wolf-like beast, and the Rougarou proceeds to prowl the fields and bayou, looking for prey. The unlucky individual cursed as the Rougarou is then under the spell for 101 days. After that time, the curse is transferred from person to person when the Rougarou draws the blood of another, either through biting or clawing, and the cycle continues on.
Interesting.
The best known method to protect one's home from a Rougarou involves placing a colander or 13 pennies or stones on the doorstep or windowsill.
Huh, that's interesting.
Legend has it that the Rougarou is fixated on counting, but does not know how to count beyond the number 12.
Oh no.
This method would perplex the creature, delaying its approach until escape or help could be found, or until the sun rises. A common trickster figure in various mythologies is the Phantom Light, and in Cajun folklore, that comes in the form of Le Feu Follet. Much like other ghostly lights, such as the Will-o'-the-Wisp of Celtic mythology, Feu Follet shines brightly in the bayou bordering New Orleans, appearing as a lonesome traveler wandering in the dark by the light of a lantern, or in more recent years, a flashlight. They most often would position themselves over a deep marsh or a body of water, and lure unsuspecting travelers towards them, causing them to sink into the water, leading to drowning, or at least utter humiliation. Both acceptable outcomes to Le Feu Follet. Another trick that they may play upon humans is to lead them far and away, deep into the woods, until they are hopelessly lost. The mystical origin of these phantom lights changes from tale to tale. Some say that they are the spirits of deceased loved ones, returning to bid their final goodbyes, while others say that they are evil entities, laying a trap for those unlucky enough to stumble upon them. Either way, if you were to see a mysterious light flickering in the dark area of the bayou, it would be wise not to follow it.
Makes sense.
Towards the east of New Orleans lies a fabled road that leads to the home of a group of hidden folk and their monstrous protector, the Grunches.
The Grunch?
In the early 1800s, there was a group of societal outcasts afflicted with cases of albinism and dwarfism, and due to their appearance, were shunned by the rest of society, driven deep into the forest.
Oh no.
Their mistreatment from society, coupled with the unrelenting fury of the wild, was said to devolve them into creatures that scarcely resembled human beings.
They look like gremlins!
From their lairs in the woods, they were said to steal livestock, namely goats, kidnap people, and even engage in cannibalism.
Well, it's not cannibalism.
The legend
if they're
goes
not
on to say
anymore.
that they made sacrifices to the devil in order to gain a protector, a beast that resembles a deformed reptilian goat with leathery skin, a row of back
they were
spines,
right. What?
and
Lamb was
glowing
right.
eyes.
I'm enjoying this, yeah.
Like Chupacabra of Latin American folklore, The beast of Grunch Road is said to drain the blood of livestock and even people. Though the location of Grunch Road and the origins of the Grunches and their beast is widely debated, the story remains one of the most popular and chilling. Our final legend of New Orleans addresses the seemingly endless supply of ghostly activity all across the city. Stories of spirits of the deceased lingering in the land of the living are nothing new, and found practically worldwide. And yet the ghost stories of New Orleans manage to stand out among the sea of paranormal tales, so much so that the city offers ghost tours of allegedly haunted sites.
Ooh.
Such sites include the infamous LaLaurie Mansion at 1140 Royal Street in the French Quarter, whose halls are said to be haunted by the eponymous owner, Delphine LaLaurie, as well as the souls of the tortured people she had mistreated during her cruel lifetime.
Yeah.
And the Hotel Monteleone, whose long history of paranormal activity includes the spirits of deceased employees, a former tenant named William Red Wildermere, and its most famous resident, the ghost of a toddler named Maurice Begier, who died on hotel premises. Some ghosts of New Orleans are even praised rather than feared, such as Père Dagobert de Longoria, a sandal-clad, robe-wearing Capuchin monk of the 18th century, who appears during rainy mornings, singing loudly in front of St. Louis Cathedral, all the way down Pirates Alley.
Ooh.
But perhaps the most famous ghost in New Orleans is the Queen of Voodoo, Marie Laveau. Laveau was a devout practitioner of Vodou and an herbalist who would hold spiritual ceremonies of healing and faith in Congo Square every Sunday until her passing in 1881. In the years following her death, Marie Laveau's legend as both a benevolent community participant and a mysterious individual capable of untold abilities grew exponentially. It is said that her ghost still roams the location of the former St. Anne Cottage and her tomb located in St. Louis Cemetery. It is said that New Orleans is among the most haunted cities in America. Amidst the wonderful music, the iconic cuisines, and diverse cultural history is a plethora of spooky urban legends woven deep into the cultural tapestry of the city. From strange creatures and monsters lurking in the rural areas, to denizens of the undead waltzing through the urban areas. So if you ever find yourself wandering the streets of the Big Easy, take heed. You may meet an unexpected visitor from the...
I would love
Hello everyone, what's Gucci? Hope you're having an awesome day wherever and whenever you're watching this. I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video here at Most Amazing Top 10. You guys have been requesting more urban legends for so long now, literally in the comments of every video, so I'm back with another one today. And no lie, I think this is my favorite American state urban legend video we've done so far, and I don't need to introduce the series, you guys already know, so get your popcorn ready and let's do this. This is the top 10 scary Louisiana urban legends. Starting us off with number 10 are the Vampire Brothers. Has anyone seen the originals or the Vampire Diaries? I feel like these legends sort of remind me of that plotline with vampires in New Orleans, etc. But anyway, during the 30s, brothers John and Wayne Carter lived somewhere in the French Quarter of New Orleans. During the day, they worked as laborers and tried to keep to themselves as much as possible. But one day, a woman somehow escaped from their apartment bleeding as she went because her wrists had been slit. Police later found multiple other people tied to chairs with their wrists slit in their apartment alongside dozens of dead bodies that had no blood. The story was that the brothers kidnapped the people to drink their blood every night after work. It took more than 8 police officers to hold down and catch the brothers before they were executed and buried. But the weirdest part was that years later, when another Carter in the family was being buried, the brothers' bodies had vanished from the vault. Legend goes on to say you can still see them roaming around New Orleans today, and someone who owned their apartment years ago said he once saw 2 figures that matched their description whispering to each other and then jumping off a 3rd floor balcony. That's basically the original's plotline. It's not even funny. Maybe it was based on this. It probably was, and I just don't know. Coming in at number 9 is the La Prette Massacre. I'm just loving these. They're just so juicy. Louisiana is filled with so many legends. I just love this. But anyway, towards the latter half of the 1800s, a rich man from Turkey owned La Prette House and also claimed he was a deposed sultan. The man transformed the house into an Eastern pleasure palace essentially. The doors and windows were blocked with bars, incense filled the air, and men guarded the house as well. The gates were locked, so the place really was like an inescapable fortress. The house even had a harem filled with girls of all ages as well as young boys too. If that wasn't enough cause for alarm, one morning neighbors saw blood trickling out from under the iron gates. The police were called straight away and they forced open the doors to a scene of pure horror. Blood was everywhere. All over the walls and floors there were amputated limbs, headless bodies, and all the harem girls and guys, even the guards, had been sexually assaulted. And you'd think it was the Turk who had gone insane, but he was also found mutilated and buried alive somewhere on the property. As to the perpetrators, people think that maybe they were a pirate's crew that had unfinished business with the man, or maybe the Turk's own family. But can you imagine? There was so much blood it was oozing out of the property. That's horrific. Anyone staying in the house after that has seen people in Eastern clothing roaming the halls, and even sounds of footsteps supposedly from all the people who have died there. At number 8 we have the Grunch. So the east of New Orleans was mostly just woodland initially, and legend has it a group of humans called the Grunch used to live in those woods. They were said to be a mix of dwarves and albinos who were forced to live there because people thought they were made by the devil, but then they inbred into something else completely. People said their offspring became inhuman in appearance. Grunch Road was meant to be a place where teens could go to make out if they weren't scared, but people started to go missing. Some goats and then actual people, all drained of blood and dead. And as this was happening, more and more strange deformed creatures started being seen. Apparently people believed that the people in the forest sold their souls for a beast that could protect them from everyone in society, whereas others believed after years of receiving cruel treatment they just went insane. They were murderous and cannibalistic, and it's said that if you see a stray goat that looks like it needs help near those parts, you shouldn't stop because it's just a trap. Filling our number 7 slot is Marie Laveau. Sorry if my French accent's bad, it probably is. And if you've seen American Horror Story Coven, then you already know who this woman is. Born in 1801, Marie was a central figure in New Orleans famous for voodoo. She had a lot of power and prestige and worked as a hairdresser, which essentially meant she basically knew the secrets of everyone in town. Rich, poor, black, white, she knew it all about everyone. She was the first person to mix voodoo with Catholicism to form a new religion that's still practiced today. It's called New Orleans Voodoo. The legend goes that although Marie died in 1881, she resurrects every year on St. John's Eve to lead the faithful in worship. Her ghost, as well as her daughter's ghost who continued her magic after she died, have been spotted numerous times around New Orleans. Now at number 6 is the Rougarou or the Loup Garou. Now this is a legend that's been passed down from generation to generation. This creature is meant to be like a werewolf of sorts and is a pale white color. It wanders the streets during the night looking for a hero, which is a bit of a plot twist. It causes havoc in crowds until someone stabs or shoots it. When the first drop of blood comes out of it, the Rougarou turns back into a man and tells the person his real name. He'll go on to warn the hero that they can't mention the incident to anyone for a full year, or they too will become a Rougarou themselves. Mostly parents tell their children about the tale to stop them from misbehaving, but it is apparently true. Coming in at number 5 is Madame Mignet Canal, I think. Probably not. Now, she wasn't famous or anyone well known, and I don't think anyone would have known who she was today if she hadn't committed suicide on the 3rd floor of her house. She hung herself from an overhead beam, but before doing it, she also killed her own small white dog. And after that, and after World War II, the house was sold to the grandparents of someone called Ramon. Now, Ramon said growing up, when him and his siblings were misbehaving, their punishment would be sitting alone on the staircase going up to the 3rd floor. He remembered that every time he did that, he saw a woman wearing a white dress that he just didn't recognize, and she always had with her a small white dog. One night he woke the whole house because he was screaming in his room. When the lights came on in his bedroom, his cheek was bright red because someone had slapped him in his sleep. Even his father met her. He climbed into bed one night hoping to hug his wife, but instead was hugging this ghost. They saw a woman standing over one of the babies' cribs, and they could see through her. They even used to hear barking from the 3rd floor when they definitely did not have a dog. Haunting confirmed. At number 4 is Count Saint Germain. Now, Count Saint Germain was the epitome of a vampire, or what you've been told is a vampire based off, stuff like Twilight. He spoke 6 languages, was a master at the violin and piano, and he also composed his own music. He was insanely rich, even though no one knew where his wealth came from, but he claimed he was the son of Francis II, who was the Prince of Transylvania. So his wealth could have been from being royalty, but no one even knew anything about his family or lineage. There was just no information about him. But supposedly he was very skilled at alchemy and had figured out how to attain immortality. He looked around 40 years old in all his portraits, and that look lasted for over half a century, and no one's 40 for that long, honey. Even at social dinners, no one ever saw him eat. He would just sip wine and speak about things that just made you feel inferior. He died in 1784, but there have been countless stories of people having seen him after that. In the 20th century, a man moved to New Orleans called Jacques Saint Germain, who looked exactly like the Count and had the same wealth and knowledge. Again, having dinner parties, but only ever sipping wine. Apparently, one night a woman stayed late at his house and he tried to bite her neck, but she escaped and reported it to the police. When they went to investigate, he was nowhere to be found. What they did find was cloths with blood on them and bottles of wine, and the policemen decided to pour themselves wine, but found that the wine wasn't just wine, it was wine mixed with human blood. Vampire confirmed. Filling our number 3 spot is the slave girl of Myrtle's plantation. Now, this happened during a time where racial segregation was still prevalent in America and slavery was still a thing. In the 1800s, Myrtle's plantation was a lovely establishment owned by Judge Clark Woodruff, where he lived with his wife and 2 daughters, as well as a few slaves. I'm talking few, but it was probably more than a dozen. A respected man of integrity to the town, but behind closed doors, he liked to have his way with his female slaves. Chloe was one of those slaves. She was disgusted by the advances, but thought if she didn't oblige, then he'd kick her out to the fields with the other slaves. And nobody wants to be on the field. So she complied, but after a while she thought maybe he was just getting tired of her. Just a side note, he twisted her ear once really badly to the point she started wearing a turban to cover her wound, and I swear this becomes important later on. But anyway, she wanted to concoct a plan to win his favor again, and the opportunity came when his eldest daughter was having her birthday party. Chloe went and picked an oleander plant, knowing the leaves had a bit of poison, which she then added to the birthday cake. Her plan was that if the family got a bit sick, she could nurse them and prove herself. She liked the children. She was actually careful to only add a bit of the plant, but she grossly miscalculated. Soon after, the daughters and the judge's pregnant wife were all dead. Talk about a grave mistake. So scared of what the judge would do to them because of Chloe, the other slaves formed a lynch mob and kidnapped Chloe while she slept and hung her. When she died, they threw her body into the Mississippi River. The judge turned the plantation into a bed and breakfast later on, and guests said they saw small kids in the hallway mirrors and heard them calling out to each other. Very much later, a new owner took a picture of the house and saw a shadowy person on the veranda that was wearing a turban. So people theorize the souls of these women are trapped on the property forever. Now at number 2 are the casket girls. Now, because of the reputation that New Orleans had back in the day, treacherous, some of the highest murder rates, notorious for missing persons, the area had trouble getting women to move there, and I mean rightfully so. Most men there were originally sent there because they were murderers, thieves, culprits of any crime really, but thankfully there was a boat full of women coming that the French had convinced to move to the city during colonization, but they all abandoned ship in Mobile, Alabama. Now, these girls were called the casket girls because they carried small chests with them, but the chests were shaped like mini coffins. So when most of them escaped the boat, they left behind 300 coffins. Most of them were said to be empty, empty, but some were rumored to contain the bodies of the undead, aka vampires. They were also nailed shut because they had a habit of opening themselves, which is just already suspicious. Later in 1978, a pair of reporters wanted to see the coffins, but the convent's priest said no. So the reporters climbed over the wall one night with all their equipment to see the coffins in real life. The next day, their equipment was thrown over the street outside, and on the front steps of the convent were their decapitated bodies, as well as 80% of their blood gone, and no one knows what happened to them. I mean, there are theories. And finally, at number 1 is La Laurie House. And I feel like this story has been in so many shows and movies, so most people probably do know about this one, but it's still a key legend from Louisiana. Located at 1140 Royal Street, this house is still one of the most haunted houses in New Orleans. During the 1800s, Dr. Louis La Laurie and his wife Delphine were known for always hosting lavish dinners there. She was charismatic and well respected, but Delphine had a sadistic dark side. The house had dozens of slaves, and she used to torture every single one of them. Due to cruelty laws, some of her slaves were auctioned off, but she just made her relatives buy them back for her in secret. She kept her cook change the fireplace for one, and she chased a young girl off the roof of her house with a whip. People started becoming suspicious when they started noticing that the slaves came and went quite quickly at the house, and some just straight up disappeared. Her neighbor actually saw the slave girl jumping to her death from the roof, and so rumors went around more and more, and people started declining invitations to the house. In 1834, a massive fire broke out in the house, supposedly started by the cook, and it went through the whole house. Honestly, if I was the cook, I would have done a lot more than just arson. But anyway, after the blaze was out, firefighters found a door, a secret bar door in the attic that hid more than a dozen other slaves. They were all chained to the wall, locked in dog cages, or strapped to makeshift operating tables. Body parts were all around the floor, heads, intestines, all of it, just in buckets around the room. Their treatment was horrible. Women had their stomachs sliced open and their intestines were wrapped around their waists. One woman had animal poo in her mouth and then it was sewn shut. There were a lot more, but I'll just leave it there. And either way, it was known that Delphine acted alone and a mob gathered outside her house, but she and her family vanished. Some say they went to France or wherever, but haunting started at the house as soon as they fled. Cries, groans, everything was heard, and finding anyone to live there was nearly impossible. And that's it for today's video, guys. I know this one was a really long one, so kudos to you if you stuck around till the end. I feel like the legends of Louisiana were just so interesting. I really didn't want to miss out any details, so I didn't. Let me know which one was your favorite in the comments below, and as always, I've been your host, Ayman Hassan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Unless anyone's got a new thing for me, I'm finding another one. Oh, pardon me, sorry for burping near the microphone. Hopefully this is another voice one. Please talk, please talk.
Long before Hurricane Katrina brought hordes of sharks and alligators swimming in the streets of New Orleans, there was already many urban legends and ghost stories about Louisiana. From werewolves, vampires, zombies, and ghosts to tales of voodoo and witchcraft, Louisiana seems to have it all. Louisiana ghost stories are unlike
why I want to go so bad.
In part because many of them are based on true stories. Louisiana is known as a state where people disappear,
and also they're above ground
mysteries remain unsolved,
cemeteries, and also the parade that they do when they're burying someone. It's just
there is
so
something eerie about plantations. They seem to invoke images of tragedy and human suffering, despite their beauty. It is not surprising that many plantations are believed to be haunted by the people who work
considering what used to happen at them,
to die on their grounds. Considered one of the most haunted buildings in America, the Myrtles Plantation is a bed and breakfast hotel today and has been
it's a beautiful building I'd love to stay in.
The testing ground for many paranormal investigators. The drama of the Myrtles Plantation began in 1796 when General David Bradford, also known as Whiskey Dave of the Whiskey Rebellion, fled to the Spanish colony and obtained a grant for 650 acres to start a new life. After his death, the plantation passed to his daughter Sarah and son-in-law Clark Woodruff. Clark Woodruff was known as an honest man with one flaw, an insatiable appetite for sex. It wasn't long until the slave girl Chloe caught his attention. Not given the choice, she began a sexual relationship with Woodruff that lasted several years. Worrying his wife would find out, Chloe began eavesdropping on the family's conversations. Woodruff caught her one day and, as punishment, ordered her ear cut off. From that day on, she was reported to have worn a green turban to cover her cut-off ear.
Oh.
Wanting revenge, Chloe decided to boil and reduce extracts of the poisonous oleander leaves, and she put that into a birthday cake. Her plan did not work completely. Only Sarah Woodruff and her 2 daughters ate the cake and succumbed to the poison.
It sounded
when
very
it was found
different
out
in the way
who
that it was
poisoned the
told
family,
in the last
Chloe
one.
was hanged and then her body thrown into the Mississippi River. Another popular death at the Myrtles plantation is that of William Winter, husband of Sarah Sterling. The Winter family owned the plantation between 1865 and 1880. Unfortunately, William was shot on the porch of his house in the 1870s by E.S. Weber. There are 2 legends attached to his final moments of life. One says that in an attempt to reach his wife, William dragged himself up the stairs on the 1st floor, but died on the 17th step. Another version said he died in the arms of his wife on the 17th step.
That's kind of beautiful.
It wasn't until the 1970s, when the plantation was bought and turned into a bed and breakfast, that it became known as a haunted house. Guests started to report hearing strange noises, and many even reported the apparition of a young girl wearing a green turban. This apparition was caught on film by the owners in 1992. But Chloe is not the only paranormal resident at Myrtles. Some people have reported seeing other young girls in old-time clothing in windows and mirrors, with some claiming it was the Woodruff children they saw. Another legend attached to the Myrtles plantation is that it was actually built on top of an old Indian burial ground. Some people have reported to see a Native American woman in a gazebo on the property. Many believe she is one of the people buried there long ago. Others have reported seeing William Winters reliving his last moments by loudly staggering through the house entrance and climbing up the stairs to the 17th step before disappearing. For many years now, there has been a tale making its rounds around the French Quarter about a sultan and the massacre inside a Le Pret mansion. The story begins in 1836 when the mansion was built. Soon, a Turkish man claiming to be a sultan rented the house from a wealthy plantation owner. Immediately, the parties began. The house would seem to come alive at night with music, incense, and many young women. One morning, after one of the parties, a neighbor was taking a walk and noticed blood seeping down the walls and the steps. The neighbor immediately went for the police. Upon entering, they found the most vicious massacre ever seen. Every man, woman, and child in the house was dismembered, and body parts were thrown everywhere.
Oh no.
When the police got to the courtyard, they found a grave with a hand sticking out of it, like it was reaching for life itself. The man in the grave was the Sultan. But here's the twist. The man was not actually a Sultan, but a Sultan's brother who escaped to New Orleans after stealing the real Sultan's women and possessions. It is believed the real Sultan hired assassins to kill his brother and everyone in the house. While the mansion has undergone many renovations and changes in ownership throughout the years, it has long been a place where hauntings have been a regular occurrence. Previous and current occupants of the house have reported seeing a man dressed in Middle Eastern clothing that disappears moments later throughout the house. There have also been reports of strange, unexplainable noises like screaming and shrieking. Sometimes the sounds of body parts hitting the floor have been heard. The LaLaurie Mansion is considered by many to be the single most gruesome haunting in the United States. With over 180 years of reported violent activity, it's not a tale for the faint of heart. The LaLaurie family first moved into the mansion in 1832. The lady of the house, Madame Delphine, was known for hosting grand parties and events there. Although she was considered
might have to
one
watch
of the
American
most
Horror
beautiful
Story
and
tonight.
intelligent women in the city, Delphine was secretly an insane and sadistic woman who tormented the slaves of the house. She was known to have chained the cook to the stove and even chased a slave girl off the roof with her whip. New laws preventing cruelty to slaves in New Orleans led to some of the LaLaurie slaves being taken away and sold at auction. That didn't slow down Madame Delphine. She would have her relatives buy back the slaves for her in secret. People started whispering about how quickly the slaves came and went from the house, until April of 1834, when the realities of what had been happening were exposed by a huge fire that the cook started in a suicide attempt. Firefighters found dozens of slaves
sounds more like a
chained up
vengeance
in a
attempt
hidden
to me.
corner of the attic, with many of them in cages. Others were found strapped to tables, some horribly mutilated, with limbs and organs in buckets stacked on shelves. The degree of torture LaLaurie put these poor souls through was worse than any serial killer known to the world thus far. Word of the evil quickly spread, and soon a large mob gathered to punish the woman. Unfortunately, it was too late. The family had escaped the city immediately after the fire, never to be seen or heard from again.
Allegedly.
When the victims were removed, neighbors took their anger out on the house, destroying almost everything. A short time later, the mansion was occupied again by newcomers to the city, and that is when the reports of hauntings began. Reports say that screaming and crying could be heard throughout the night, but nothing compares to the ghastly sight of the decapitated apparitions and angry spirits that were constantly seen roaming the halls and passing through the large rooms of the mansion. Throughout the years, the building has been many things, from a private school to apartments for the privileged. The reports of screams and apparitions has lessened, but occasionally, tenants and visitors who know little or nothing of the cruel history linked to the mansion report various unexplainable sounds and apparitions.
Really? Wow.
What makes New Orleans so special is the nightlife, charm, culture, and so much history. It is one of the most unique cities and is considered one of the most haunted cities in the U.S.
And I really want to go. I want to go so bad.
In Louisiana, the most mysterious to roam the streets is Jacques Saint Germain. Believed to be a descendant of Comte de Saint Germain, it is not clear when he was born, because reports from historical records report a similar man in the 1700s all the way back to the time of Christ. Comte was a successful alchemist, and his research was for achieving immortality. During the 1700s, he traveled Europe and is said to be fluent in 6 languages. Despite the records of his death, he was reported to have been seen all over Europe. Jacques Saint Germain came to New Orleans in 1902 from France. he was reported to have held a special feast for the city's elite. During the feast, he served a variety of delicious food that he did not take one bite of. He only kept drinking the red drink, which many people assumed was wine. Jacques Saint-Germain became the center of attention again when he kidnapped a woman from a local pub and with alarming speed took her to his home and quickly bit her neck and drank her blood. The woman was saved when a friend pounded on the door and distracted Jacques enough that the woman broke free and got away. When police investigated the same room, they found bloodstains everywhere, but did not find the vampire. It has been reported that a mysterious figure known as Jack is still at large. The legends of Rougarou or Loup-garou have been passed down through generations since Louisiana was settled. The Rougarou is similar to the werewolf. Wolves are native to Louisiana, and many times the creature of legend is replaced with dogs, pigs, and cattle. Generally, the creature is described as being pale white in color. Legends say the Rougarou wanders the streets at night looking for a savior in the crowds. It will cause trouble, provoking people until somebody kills it. With the first drop of blood drawn from the death blow, the beast will turn back into a human and reveal to his attacker its true name. According to legends, this usually happens in the small towns of Louisiana. Before taking its final breath, the transformed man will warn its savior that it cannot say a word of the incident to anyone for a full year, or he too will suffer the same fate and become the Rougarou. Parents have also been known to tell tales of the Rougarou to misbehaving children, warning them that if they don't straighten up, the Rougarou will visit them in bed that night.
That wouldn't have stopped me. That would have actually encouraged me as a child.
Madame now was a grand Creole woman that owned the house at the turn of the last century. Stories say that she was either the wife or the lover of Bernard Menari that took her own life by hanging herself, as well as her beloved little dog, on an overhead beam for reasons still unknown today. Sightings of a Creole The 2.5-story Mason house was built about 1836. It sits at the front of the property with a balcony on the second level and 3 full-length openings on each floor covered with shutters. Behind 5 sets of shutters are French doors that lead into the home. The 6th one on the ground level opens to a long, narrow passageway that leads to the stairs at the rear of the house. It is on the rear stairs and the second floor landing where something has been sighted. Sightings of a Creole-looking woman in white began shortly after World War II by a family named Ruiz. They reported seeing a woman in white walking with her little dog down the stairs and then disappearing. They nicknamed her Minnie Canal because of her tongue-twisting real name. Halfway between Monroe and Shreveport sits a small town of Gippsland, Louisiana, in Bienville Parish. This is where the infamous couple Bonnie and Clyde died on May 23, 1934, when the police from Louisiana and Texas cornered them in their stolen car and fired more than 100 bullets. Visitors and residents say that if you go to the site of their death on Route 154, 7 miles south of the Ambush Museum, the ghosts of Bonnie and Clyde make themselves well known. It is reported that you can still see their spirits lingering in the surrounding woods. Ghostly apparitions.
That's kind of cool. I'd love to meet the famous ghosts.
Pictures taken in the area. Whether you visit for great music, stiff drinks, or sociable company, spirits flow freely in this old neighborhood bar, in more ways than one. The building was constructed in the 1880s as a firehouse, but when the 1918 flu pandemic hit, it was used as a makeshift morgue. From then until the 1970s, the history is clouded. Some people say it was a feed store, while others say it was a thrift store. But most people agree that during the 1970s, it was a flop house, a local watering hole for vagabonds, pimps, and drug addicts. In the early 1980s, the bar was named the Cypress Hollow, and the clientele was slowly improving. In 1997, the Spanish Moon was opened, turning the historical building into the successful establishment it is today. Staff and patrons have reported a variety of paranormal activity, the most common being a young man wandering the bar at night. He is reported to be dressed in 1950s era clothing and will go around turning on beer taps and pushing ashtrays around. Disembodied voices from upstairs has been heard after the bar was closed for the night. Vendors have also reported a sense of uneasiness or of being watched while in the empty bar. Tragedy struck the bar again in 2013 when a man was accidentally electrocuted at the bar.
Oh no.
The legend of the Cajun Fairy, or Fille Follet, began in the bayou many years ago. These balls of fire in the swampy area surrounding New Orleans is believed to be spirits or fairies and thought to have the souls of loved ones.
See, I'd love
They can also appear in a malevolent form that appear as balls of light, misleading those who encounter them. Their goal is to confuse people until they become lost. The wandering victims believe they see a house or a camp and will walk towards it until they either get more lost or drown. These ghostly lights have also been
they're like the ones from Lord of the Rings.
Louisiana cemeteries and graveyards. One of the very oldest private cemeteries, Biblo Cemetery in Lake Charles, has reported the mysterious lights since the 1840s. The Grunch Road Monster, also known as New Orleans Grunch, is reported to be a chupacabra-like creature. It is described as being an elaborate cross between a canid and reptilian chupacabra. Sightings and tales, unlike its cousins, seem to go back further in Louisiana history than in any other areas of the world. Most commonly, the New Orleans Grunch is said to be a goat-like creature with leathery or scaly black-gray skin, sharp spines, and long horns or quills running down its back. The creature stands about 3 or 4 foot high. It is also reported to be more intelligent and even have human-like skills like opening doors and using tools. It is reported to howl like a wolf, scream like a banshee, or bellow and screech like an ape, as well as leave a strong stench. Many reports say the creature's eyes also glow a red, orange, or blue-green in color. Some have even reported seeing bat-like wings and a tail. An old voodoo story says that Marie Laveau castrated the devil baby when he was born to prevent him from producing more of his kind. The testicles allegedly turned into the male and female Grunch and fell to the floor. They then proceeded to attack Marie Laveau. It is said that the Grunch almost killed her and she fainted. When she came to, the Grunch and the devil baby were gone. Some stories say that this is when Marie Laveau gave up her voodoo ways and went back to being a good Catholic woman. While reports of the Grunch have come from several areas in Louisiana, most come from Grunch Road.
Pretty road.
Some people claim the Grunch Road legends was in Chalmette, Louisiana, while others claim it was Gentilly or Metairie. But the real Grunge Road is located in the remote part of eastern New Orleans, near the community of Little Woods. The road is a dead-end road with shells and sand, sheltered by overgrown woods and tall water oaks that lead into a ferny darkness off the major two-lane highway of Hain Boulevard. Sightings of goat people, ghosts, strange lights, and cries have been reported to this day. The creature is reported to take pets and drain the animal's blood and sometimes organs through a single hole. Many people have also reported seeing them knocking over trash cans looking for food.
Oh no. That was really interesting though, wasn't it? I mean, I quite enjoyed it. But then I like things that are weird and spooky. That's why I try to do Morbid Monday, because I really do enjoy that kind of content. But I think today has come to an end. So let's go see who we're going to raid, shall we? Let's see. Lotus, Kana, Peach, Jolas, Science Dude, Forever's, Lana. Does anyone have any ideas?
Hi. Did you want to catch
Wait,
up
no.
some...
Let's go Bow. She's a cutie.
Oh, no, I didn't know. No one told me. No one told me. Do you guys turn your PC off, or do you just let it go into sleep mode?
Oh, Cassidy, huh? Okay.
Oh.
Dead by Daylight, huh? Nice. They're not live yet, Jade. I'm not rating someone who's not live. So pick someone else. Please. Oh, pardon me. Sorry for burping near the microphone.
I do remember you, King. Why do you have a new name? Hello, Victoria. Sorry, guys. I just figuring something else out.
Okay, well, she'll be on soon, so I guess we can keep it going. Let's do the raid message.
I am coming. I'm just doing something.
Why are you?
Hello.
Why?
Oh, my nose is looking brown and not pink. How interesting. How are we all today?
She's a cutie.
How are we all today? Let me know. What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm just figuring something else up. Oh, my phone that popped up. Why did you make a new account?
Okay, since she's live, I'm happy to do it. Here is the raid message. Please copy it and then paste it. When you get there, so she knows who sent you. Yeah. I'll get the raid underway and then I'll do my thank yous. Cat S-I. There we go. Yeah. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. You guys make my day. Seriously. You're awesome.
I'm just starting up the game. With the bow tie. Get your nasty. Let it blow dry. I like a big
But yeah, I really do appreciate each and every one of you. You'll see me again the day after tomorrow, and I do the stream with Koji, assuming he's got good Wi-Fi. So yeah, guys.